Baltimore. Don't ask him about preseason games, oh no. Stuffing things in Griffin Basallo. Despite it being on the internet, he can call it what he wants, so Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark Radio. Duke sucks.
Hi, good morning, Glenn Clark Radio. I'm Glenn. He's Griffin. A lot to do on a Thursday edition of the program. Coming up, the well-rounded show. Joe Noteboom, new Ravens offensive lineman, is going to check in with us. We'll meet new Maryland basketball transfer Collin Metcalf, big man out of Northeastern, blocked artist a year ago, rim protector. We'll talk to him. J.J. Cooper of Baseball America. We'll talk about the Orioles, their new top 100 prospects lists, whether he's sounding the alarm on Mayo in particular. And also talk some Preakness today. Mike Gorham, who has been a trainer who's been saddling horses at Laurel and Pimlico for years. For the first time ever, he's going to have a runner in the Preakness. Actually, first time he'll ever have a runner in a Triple Crown race at all with Pay Billy. So that's all coming up on a Thursday edition of the program. But obviously, let's pull the Band-Aid off. Let's just go ahead and deal with it.
Schedule release?
Yeah, how about it, man? There's 17 games. Would you believe it? I thought maybe this year.
You want to go ahead and rank every team's
Nope.
release of it?
Nope.
I think
none of it's
Chargers, obviously,
none of it's
won.
for me. I don't care about any of it.
The worst,
Yeah,
probably the Dolphins. Dolphins looked like they used AI to make it, and it looked like a AT&T like cell phone commercial or something, and it was like
Okay.
60 seconds long, and I still don't even know who they're playing.
Okay, great.
That one was pretty
Great.
That one was very poorly done.
Okay,
Yeah.
so there's that.
They just like show every team on the screen, and it's like a
Mhm.
half second. You can't even tell who they're playing. It was
Cool.
It was very poorly done.
Cool.
Giants one didn't really hit with me either.
Yeah, I don't care.
They did like a reality show thing.
Yeah, still don't care.
Browns one didn't make much sense either. They
Yeah.
did something cool. It was like a little slow-mo video thing.
All right, so anyway,
Brownie
the
the Elf.
Ravens' schedule. I'm sorry, just you're not going to get me to care about this topic. The Ravens have a schedule. They open in Buffalo on Sunday night.
They did
So
a severance
there's
thing,
that. And my takeaways, lots of 1 p.m. games. Scheduled 1 p.m. games. I get that can always change. But as is, I like it. For me, love it. Other people really dig the
2 Thursday games.
primetime thing. Well, the one's Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving,
Yeah. Other people really dig primetime games. That's cool. I mean, that's again not what I'm into, but who am I to tell you what you should like, right? Like that's just me saying I like lots of 1 p.m. games. A lot of people have brought up the idea that like could be really tricky closing at Green Bay and Pittsburgh. Ironically, the people that go to all the games like don't mind the end of the season being on the road because it's cold as F here. And
Well,
it's not going to be any warmer, obviously, in Green Bay or Pittsburgh. I have no strong opinion whatsoever. I think the Ravens are better than those two teams. Like, this is the weird part about a schedule. You have to play these teams. I don't think it's any easy. If you think Green Bay's good, and I think they're good. I mean, I don't think they're a Super Bowl threat, but I think they're good. It's not going to be easier to play Green Bay on the road.
drafted a receiver in the first round for the first time.
They've got that
ever.
going for them. It's not going to be easier to play them in October than it is to play them in December. I get it. It's cold. I understand. It's going to be cold in Green Bay. It's going to be cold anywhere you play an outdoor game north of North Carolina, north of Atlanta probably, in December or January. Like, it's going to be cold if you played that game in Baltimore. I get it. It's particularly cold at Lambeau Field. I understand that. But like I am admittedly confused by the notion of Like, God, this is so unbearable that you have to play Green Bay in late December. Like, dude, somebody's got to play that game. The start of the schedule is tough, but like, when do you want to play these teams? When are you going to see going to Buffalo and think, well, that'll be easy? Just a nice, easy one. Like, I guess the fact that that's, again, I don't know if you've heard, Buffalo also miserably cold.
Get that one to start of September.
If you're worried about the fact you got to go to Green Bay in late December, then you should be pleased with the idea that you're going to Buffalo right after Labor Day. It'd probably only be like 40 degrees, I think, at that point in Buffalo. I don't know what. I'm sorry. I wish I was the guy that could, like, these are the games. You're going to play them. This is the order in which you're going to play them.
I thought you told me you wanted to break down all the Easter eggs in the Severance.
No interest in whatsoever.
Severance intro
not a
video.
half an interest in
Darius Washington was featured in it. That was sad.
Bummer. Sure,
Yeah.
that's a bummer. The Thanksgiving night thing.
Charlie Kohler had a big role. He did pretty well.
All right, we're not talking about the video.
They made a good joke towards Kyle
We're
Hamilton.
not doing it. I
Being
love
a
you.
UFC fan.
I know you're a young person. I understand this is the type of thing that you're into.
Keaton Mitchell did the
I
running
don't-
thing. That was
I tell you
good.
what, next year, you can do your own like video for the website about breaking down the videos. All right.
All 32? Come on.
If I'm giving you your own video, then by all means, you do whatever you want, pal.
We'll do a 3-hour.
No, not we. I didn't say we.
We.
No. What's all this we talk?
Well, me and Stan.
Sure. You guys can do whatever the F you want. I don't care. The Thanksgiving night thing, I get it. Like, you're probably sick of the Ravens playing on holidays. This is what comes along with the Ravens being a good football team. It's just kind of what it is, man. Like, when you're a good football team, you're in demand for these, high-profile games. And, yeah, I would prefer, like, not. I guess if you're going to play on Thanksgiving, this is the best scenario for playing on Thanksgiving. One, because it's the only way you can be at home, right? Like, if you're in the other two games, their locations are predetermined. And it's probably least intrusive to, like, family meal. I
Being 8
guess.
o'clock,
I mean,
yeah.
if you're doing tailgating and everything, like if you're going down to the stadium at 5 o'clock, then that's a different conversation. Like, this is the nice part for me about not going to the games anymore is, like, I don't care. I'm going to have a very normal Thanksgiving, and then at the end of the day, we're going to watch some football.
See, my family understands, though. If I decide to go to this game, then, they'll be like, all right, well, then we'll just move dinner up. Or
yeah,
whatever,
you could do,
'cause,
by the way, like, you can do
they'll
Thanksgiving
oblige
dinner
to me.
in the afternoon. Like, you're allowed to do that. Like, I don't know who's eating multiple big meals on Thanksgiving. Eat your big meal at 3 o'clock. It's going to work. You get hungry later, get a sausage at the game or something. I don't know, man. Like, that's
Sausage?
Yeah, get a delicious sausage.
Sausage. Am I supposed to know what that is?
A sausage? We just call them sausages because that's what, like, a thing. All right, I can't believe that you don't know what I'm referring to when I say sausage. I give up, dog.
What is it?
There was a thing.
Will you make me Google it?
You can Google it if you like. It's really not worth this. You're spending
Well,
way
you
too
said
much
it.
time on.
I'm
There's
trying
no
to
one I
educate
know
myself here.
who spends more time on the parts of the show that don't matter than my pal Griffin.
Well, I'm trying to learn
Yeah, are you? Because it went
Looks
so
like
well
it's
with
like a
Brenda
dog-
and Eddie. What?
dog treat.
Yes, dog treats.
Why would I want a dog treat at the
It's
football
not.
game?
My God.
You brought it up.
Yes, it's a throwaway. It's not the part of the content that matters.
Got it. So it's supposed to be like a joke.
Jesus.
Can you explain a joke to me?
Hi. Anyway, I don't know what I was talking about. There's a schedule. They're the games they're gonna play, and
I was excited. Yeah, it was great.
They're gonna play them. I got nothing for you.
Now we can officially.
I know a couple
predict
people
the
have,
record.
have dove in on the rest advantage topic, and I guess they have a positive rest advantage net on their opponents. Although I think some of they have a particularly positive rest advantage over certain opponents, like I think like Minnesota, and you're like,
yeah.
well, that doesn't feel like a
Pittsburgh.
game you need. Like, whereas some of the negative rest advantages they have, or maybe God.
Miami would be a negative one, and then
Yeah.
I guess Thanksgiving night when they host Cincinnati, maybe.
That's not a negative rest advantage, is it?
Well, I mean, it's like it's a 4.
I mean, from the opponent.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
We'll get there. One of these days, we're gonna get there.
Nah, the only schedule that matters is the Ravens. Doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, we're talking about the Ravens schedule.
I don't care what the other teams look like.
Jesus.
They just know it's trouble. When,
this is from Jonas. You have negative 1 day of rest for the Chiefs. So, that, again, if there's a game where you'd prefer to not have a rest disadvantage, it would probably be the Chiefs. You have a negative 3 day rest advantage against the Rams, although that is a West Coast 10 a.m. game because that's a 1 o'clock Eastern game. You have a plus 7 day rest advantage for the Bears.
Better look out, Bears.
Maybe this is the year the Bears put it all together. Maybe we'll find out. You have a plus 3 day rest advantage for the Vikings, a negative 3 day rest advantage for the Jets.
If the season goes anything like the release video, Bears should be in better shape this year.
All right.
Had Jake Johnson help him out. I like that.
One day.
What?
One day you're going to be as prepped for the stuff that matters.
I am.
As you are for the stuff that
It was
doesn't
the
matter
schedule
at
release
all.
was last night.
Right, I'm
It's
aware.
the biggest thing in sports, actually.
You're right. The Twitter videos are not. They're just some Twitter videos.
It does matter.
To who?
I mean, the team.
How?
Because that's how this is how they're portraying themselves to the world.
Uh-huh.
You know,
That's what you got?
Yeah.
Okay.
utilizing how they
Dynamite
Caleb
stuff.
Williams was in it, Roma Dunze was in it.
Yeah.
It was utilizing their stars,
Thank you.
to their best ability. It was good.
Thank you. Dynamite. All right, so anyway.
You might have liked the Titans one.
Why would I like the Titans one?
They did like a little skit almost. They did. They called it. They called it Schedule Rizzy. Like it was like a.
I can't believe I engaged you on that. That's
like a
on
medicine
I can't even be mad at
commercial
you for that one.
almost.
That one's on
and
me.
that was how they released it.
There is no reason why I would have asked that question. None. Zero.
The Bills was all right.
For me to ask that question. We're moving on.
They used AI.
The Ravens
as well.
have a schedule. There it is. God bless. The Orioles lost 2 baseball games yesterday. Less God bless. It's bad. It's extraordinarily bad. They actually scored a couple of runs yesterday, just like all in one inning. It's awful. There's no getting around how unmitigated this disaster is. As far as actual unique disappointments yesterday are concerned, Yennier Cano stands out. Yennier Cano, for the most part, someone who we would say has done their job and isn't like the story of why this has gone south. You wanted to believe that Dean Kramer was turning things around. You hand him 3 runs. He says, nah.
No, I mean if Cedric Mullins doesn't commit that error in
Yes, that
field.
error. Christ. It's all bad. All of it. They're a broken team. They'll play again today. And while, even when Dan Zimborski was on with us yesterday, I continue to agree that none of this is Brandon Hyde's fault. I'm at the point where I really don't care about Memorial Day anymore. I can't ignore this is broken, you just have to do something aspect of it. Now, it's not because I think it's going to fix something. It's acknowledging it. And really, for me, it's the second part of what Dan Zimborski brought up, or really the first part, which is you get one as a general manager before the light goes to you. This is sort of like you have to check this box so we can start to figure out if Mike Elias is capable of doing this or not. I hate that that's the way that it works. Because, again, if you ask me who's more responsible for this, I would say Mike Elias is more responsible. But to be fair, there's enough players that aren't performing at a level that they should be performing at, and part of that does fall on a manager. Like, you've got to be able to bring the best out of them. But I want to get on to the point. The point is, I've never before wondered if Mike Elias was capable of this. I didn't know that he was, but I wasn't convinced that he wasn't either. I was largely neutral. The thing that everybody would always ask, hey, do you think Mike Elias is a good general manager? I have no idea. How could I know? He was never trying to win anything. But over the course of the last 2 years, my answer has been kind of indifferent. Not sure. He's kind of got his hands tied behind his back by the organization. Now, my answer is much more of a, I don't think so. I don't think he is. I don't think he's a general manager that can do what it takes to win a World Series. And the spotlight needs to move there. Because this franchise, the leadership of this organization, needs to figure out if that is a serious priority or not. For a lot of organizations, it's just not. Plain and simple. It's not a serious priority. If it somehow were to happen, then Papa bless, but it's not high on the list of things they're trying to do. Profit. Those are things that they care about. Being competent enough to kind of hide the fact that they don't really care about winning a World Series. Like, those are things that matter. I don't know. I mean, David Rubenstein publicly says he cares about winning a World Series. I don't think David Rubenstein's... A lot of people say that. How does David Rubenstein not get embarrassed seeing nobody at the stadium yesterday? David Rubenstein is involved in private equity. How many people went to a baseball game is like... I can't even imagine how low that is on the list for him. Like, that's the thing about ownership being from this world, is that, like, they have bigger fish to fry. They do. We don't. We're living this every day. They do. I think you need to fire Brandon Hyde, and I hate that. I hate that we're at this point. But I think you need to do it so that that distraction is taken away.
Does that help send a message to the players in any way?
I don't think so. I don't think any of that resonates. I think that's all kind of hogwash.
Adley doesn't want to hit up below 200. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is not happening because the players aren't trying. It's just the type of stuff that we say, and it's what it is. But this isn't going on because the players don't like the manager or trying to spit in the face of the manager, any of those reasons. I think you have to move on from Brandon Hyde so that Mike Elias can go under the microscope. So that there's no deflecting. So that the organization can figure out, can this guy do this or not? Can this front office prioritize winning? And again, that starts with the premise that ownership's concern is winning. And I don't know that. That's what they say. The actions of the front office wouldn't back that up. Now, they, again, publicly have suggested they defer to the front office. That there's a lot of gray area there. If ownership is, their priority is to win a World Series, then this domino needs to fall in order for them to be able to look more directly at the next one. And if that group is serious about winning a World Series, or if a new group needs to be brought in whose priority it would be. And I guess it's not just about whether they're serious, whether they're capable. It might very well be that maybe Mike Elias in his heart of hearts thinks he did everything he could to give the Orioles a chance to win a World Series. If that's the case, then I would say there's bigger problems. I don't know. I hope they win a baseball game today and then win 3 more this weekend. Like, I hope all of that occurs. But we can only keep saying this for so long. We can keep doing look at, when the Nationals won the World Series and they were not, we can keep saying that for forever. But at some point, something has to happen. And it's not. Like, it's been so bleak that our excitement was that they won 2 out of 3 against the effing Angels. That's how bad things are. We were like, man, this might be the moment. God. It's just really unpleasant. It's just really unpleasant, but not at all surprising. Again, like, the only 2 things about yesterday that were uniquely disappointing were Yennier Cano that we had kind of convinced ourselves that Dean Kramer had turned a corner. We knew better. We knew better. Print issue of Press Box available right now on the cover. Luke Jackson dives into the hard road back from major elbow surgery for Felix Batista, Kyle Bradish, and Tyler Wells. Go pick that up right now at your neighborhood Royal Farms, any of the hundreds of locations around town where you find Press Box. Read it all, PressBoxOnline.com. All right, joining us now here on GCR, let's talk a little bit more about the Orioles. And the problems don't even, end at their record and what we're seeing. They have problems throughout the organization. New top 100 prospect list from Baseball America has 2 Orioles on it, one of which is tumbling down the list a bit because he's been up to the bigs a couple times and it hasn't worked out. Joining us now to tell us more about that, he is Baseball America editor, Mr. J.J. Cooper, and he's back with us now here on GCR. J.J., it's Glenn. It's good to talk to you. Thank you for taking the time for us this morning.
I'm guessing it's not a happy fun time right now for obviously for the Orioles.
It's certainly not a happy fun time, JJ. I apologize. That's what you're walking into here.
I'm prepped for it.
Yeah.
I was going to say before we dive into the farm system, I was going to mention they moved the wall in, and it has hey, the Orioles are getting better at home than they do on the road.
Hey, they got that going for them.
For every home run they get at home compared to I think they give up 3 because their pitching at home is the worst in the major leagues and it's mainly home run prone.
Anything else you got? Anything else that can make us feel better?
Braxton Bragg has been
he's been really good, right?
Revelation this year.
Yeah,
he's been really good. I would point out him as someone stuffs up a little bit. He's we'll see if he's a starter long term. He's a little bit older, but have very much liked what we've seen from Braxton Bragg this year so far. That is a positive.
Yeah, that is a positive. Thank you for giving us one. Now let's get into everything else. JJ, I was listening to the hot sheet the other day, and I heard you guys talking about Kobe Mayo, and I am in a tough spot, right? Corbin Carroll, for example, is someone that a lot of people have been down on, and now look, he looks exactly like we all thought he was going to be. I don't think that this is the end of the story of Kobe Mayo whatsoever. I am befuddled by their insistence on him playing third base. I cannot make any sense of that whatsoever. I have not talked to a single person who says to me, I really do think he has a shot at being a plus major league third baseman. But I don't know what the plan is here. I don't know what they're doing, and I start to have concerns about prospects that seem to graduate and depreciate in value either for your own organization or as a trade chip. And I'm starting to worry about with Kobe Mayo the way that we were all worried about it with, say, Kyle Stowers, who, turned out to be a pretty good baseball player.
There is one of the problems that you run into, it's called the tyranny of choice, right? Which is that when you have multiple options at a position, it makes it harder to kind of go all in on one. And sometimes it makes it harder to evaluate. To take an extreme example of this, go back to the Cardinals a few years ago, and it's they had Randy Arozarena and Adolis Garcia, and they had a lot of it, Tyler O'Neill, now an Oriole, and Dylan Carlson, right? And I don't want to make it sound like Adolis Garcia. The Rangers also DFA'd Adolis Garcia at one point. But they didn't realize what they had in Adolis Garcia. They didn't fully realize what they had in Randy Arozarena. When you have kind of these multiple options, it's harder to say we're just going to go all in on one of these. And if you look at it, yes, Kyle Stowers is having a very good season, obviously. He's got 10 home runs for the Marlins. At the same time, part of that is he has 161 plate appearances.
Right.
He has the second most plate appearances on the Marlins team. The problem he's going to run into in Baltimore, if he was still hey, I will own it. I was completely and utterly wrong about that trade. I thought that it was that the Orioles, with their ability to develop pitching, that there was a plan there that was going to potentially work. I knew there was risk to it, but it has not worked out, obviously. But at the same time, if Kyle Stowers was an Oriole right now, Would he have 161 plate appearances, or would he have 60?
Yeah, I mean, if Colton Cowser gets hurt, then there's probably room for him. But I get the point, right? Like, I completely understand it, and I don't know that he comes. But this is, to me, part of the issue of kind of hoarding, right? Like that you recognize that issue and you try to get ahead of it. And to the point, Kyle Stowers wasn't my issue with the trade. The issue to me in that trade was Norby, right? Like, I didn't see this coming for Kyle Stowers either. But even I understood, like, the argument of, well, but he's blocked here and he's just not going to. But you knew that. Like, you could see that coming for some time. That wasn't something that just happened all of a sudden last year. You could see that you had Jackson Holiday and that you had all of these infield prospects, and you didn't maximize value. And that's the part, like, I remember when John Angelo said the Orioles were going to be like the Rays, and we were all like, ooh, that sounds gross. And now in hindsight, we're like, what I wouldn't give to be like the Rays. Because on the flip side, instead you try to maximize the value of everyone that you have and get what you can. And I think that's the frustrating part about watching this is you knew you didn't have enough pitching. You didn't seem to have a plan for Kobe Mayo. What is the thought process here?
So the problem you run into with someone like Mayo, like you said, the problem you run into is when he reaches AAA a couple of years ago now, right?
Mm-hmm.
You are at an age where you can, if you are looking at him and you're projecting, you can still at that point say he's rough third base defensively, but obviously he's going to work a lot on that. Let's see how that improves, how that develops. Here's what we think his bat potential is, all that, right? Well, the problem you run into now when you talk about, like, diminishing value, it's not that there's no hope for Kobe Mayo to still be a productive big leaguer. There's absolutely still a hope for Kobe Mayo to be a productive long-term big leaguer. But I would say, like, if you're another team looking at it, you would have 100% be like, we are way less confident of his ability to play third base now than we were a couple of years ago, because a couple of years ago you could approach that from the standpoint of this is a really young player. He's got a lot of work to do. And when the same issues are arising 2 years later, there's a lot less projection to that. It's like, okay, I've seen this kind of year after year. I think that Kobe Mayo still is a very solid prospect. I mean, he's still in our top 100. But, like, if you say, well, what is the plan? Like, I would say still the long-term plan is just that he's hopefully, for them, next year's first baseman, right? Like, because that's probably, by next year you're like, okay, Mountcastle's gone, and he's the guy there. But at the same time, the rough thing about the tough thing about coming up in the Orioles system right now is they've had a lot of these guys, and so you don't have a whole lot of runway to perform because there's always someone else to potentially work in there as well. And I mean, the other problem, obviously, really, the problem for the Orioles at the big league level has largely been pitching based, but also, obviously, the lineup's not performing like expected. And I do think the lineup has had some of this is like, oh, the lineup is a little bit unlucky, right? There are a number of players, regulars in this Orioles lineup, who, if you look at their expected stats are a lot better than their actual stats are right now. And I'm sure some people are saying that sounds like an excuse, and I'm not saying that's an excuse. I'm saying that as in Adley Rutschman, I would expect to be better over the second half of the year, over the rest of the season he's been so far, if he just keeps doing exactly what he's doing, because he's not getting the production you would expect to get out of how he's hitting the ball.
So let's go. I want to go there if I can, JJ, because that I feel like is like the next conversation for me. The manager topic is what it is, right? Like, this is the way the baseball works. At some point when things are bad, you fire the manager. It doesn't matter whose fault it is. It doesn't matter. It's just the way that this goes. To me, the Rutschman conversation might be even louder and more significant to what the Orioles are and where they're going. Because what you're alluding to, we're now seeing this is prolonged for Adley Rutschman. This has been since the midway point of last year that he's looked like an average, like a replacement level baseball player at best, right? Like, he hasn't even really been very good. Like, his throwing has been dreadful. His trips to the plate, he just hasn't looked right. But you bring up that expected, like, he has hit the ball hard. I think there are a lot of people that are starting to wonder if the Orioles have to think about how frequently he catches, that they need to do certain things in order to resurrect him as an offensive player. Your opinion is it's not as bad as we think it is?
So, okay, right now, at this moment, Adley Rutschman is 96th percentile in the majors in squared up percentage. It's
Right.
97th percentile in chase percentage, 96th percentile in whip percentage, 83rd percentile in strikeout percentage, 81% in walk percentage. Like, I'm not saying everything's perfect with Adley Rutschman. I'm not, right? But I would say, like, it is hard for me looking at this to explain why he's hitting 197, 295, 328, because, like, that does, it's really bizarre that he's producing at those kind of, like, batted ball outcomes and still getting nothing out of it. And 100%, like, hey, you're going to have to, if you're the Orioles, everything should logically be on the table as far as discussion at this point, right? Because this is a team that right now is going to need a massive turnaround to be a playoff team. Not win the division, but, like, it's hard to get from where the Orioles are right now to this season being a success, right?
Oh.
It's not impossible, but it's hard. And there's obviously been injuries. There's obviously, again, we could talk about pitching for, a day and a half. But if you said, how is this team going to be a postseason team, in addition to finding fixes for pitching and all that, Adley Rutschman has to be an all-star type player. Gunnar Henderson has to perform at an all-star level. I'm not saying Gunnar Henderson has to perform at best player in the game level, which he's had times where he's done, but there has to be that the kind of core of this lineup produces at the level that you would expect. And, I mean, Gunnar's been good, right? Gunnar's been fine, but you need pretty much almost everyone in the lineup, I would say, has to be other than Ryan O'Hearn. I think it's hard to say that Ryan O'Hearn can be any better than he's being right now. But everyone else probably does need to find another gear than they've shown so far. But at the same time, I'll ask you this question. When you look at the starting pitching matchup, right? I would say that most days when the Orioles are like this starter versus whoever the opponent starter is, the good days are the days where it's a 50-50 thing, right?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
It's Sagano versus so-and-so. That's a 50-50. But there's probably two of those days a week, isn't there, where you look at it and say this is probably a 40-60, right? Like the starting for the Orioles is bad enough that it's a real disadvantage going into the game. Massive.
The biggest story. J.J. Cooper, Baseball America, just another couple of minutes with him here on GCR. JJ, I want to touch on Samuel Basallo, who still remains very high on your guys' prospect list and, got back to catching recently. Yeah, right. We love that. And still hitting bombs. How much do you need to see from Samuel Basallo at AAA before we know he's ready?
When you say ready, like, the question then kind of becomes, okay, like, and then we just saw this with the Dodgers. The Dodgers just brought up, Dalton Rushing. And their plan for the Dodgers is that Rushing is going to be a 2-game-a-week starter at catcher behind Will Smith, who's one of the better catchers in baseball. And they're said it's time for that. It's a little tough for me to say, like, I mean, Dalton Rushing has more upper-level minor league time. He's older than Basallo. I would say you at least want to see a month of him catching. If you're going to bring him up to catch and not just be a DH, you're probably going to need, a good month and a half of him catching regularly. For one, just to kind of build up his stamina back there again. But two, he does have more work to do defensively. The bat is great. But again, the other part that's kind of tricky about that is, if you bring him up, and obviously an injury could change this at a moment's notice, but if you bring him up, it can't be to go back to what we're talking about here. It can't be to play 2 days a week, right? Can it? Like, I don't think that's necessarily – he's not developed enough in his career development path to be that kind of guy right now. Like, if you want to say that, again, a Jorge Mateo or, a Ramon Laureano kind of is in that role, yeah, they're veterans, right? Like, this is who they are. But you can't really say that you want to do that, I would say, with your best prospect.
I agree. I do wholeheartedly agree with that. And at some point, I think you almost have to clear a spot and say, this is how we know we're going to find, because otherwise I feel like we're going to be having the same conversation we just been having about Kobe Mayo here in a little while. I'll wrap with this, JJ. You brought up Braxton Bragg. One of the real questions that I think we're dealing with is how insane it is that we got to this point with the pitching. That, like, they knew, Mike Elias company knew that they didn't draft pitching for years, that was not, that it was too volatile for them to draft pitching so early in the draft. But then they also decided it was too volatile to spend big money on pitching, and I find myself just utterly befuddled by what the thought process is about pitching. They at least have taken a couple more swings in recent drafts. Is there anyone besides Bragg that you look at and say, hey, maybe there's something here? Because I think we're running out of time to call Cade Povich or Chase McDermott still promising prospects at this point.
I would say the way I would say is that you can throw a Michael Surratt in there, guys like that. But all of these guys, let's just be honest, like, none of these are front of the rotation type starter. Braxton Bragg, I don't think anyone would project as a front of the rotation type starter, right? Now, the one thing I would push, like, further reporting has said, like, they did try to spend money on a pitcher, but Corbin Burns chose somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
So they did, at least on that one, they tried.
Yeah.
They failed.
Yeah.
They didn't get him.
Right, and
I'll
I'll hear
plan B.
Right, I hear that with the idea of being like, if there was a plan B, then I would be like, that would matter more. The idea that it was Corbin Burns or bust doesn't seem like that's
right.
like that.
Right, well, I follow. I'm just saying, though, like, from that standpoint, like, but no, this looked like the real weakness of the team coming into the season.
Yeah.
And it's proven even more so, right? Like, this is that it's not that there was risk with signing Charlie Morton, but the real risk when you sign Charlie Morton is if you're really depending on him, right?
Correct.
If you're saying that he's going to be kind of almost move everyone down 2 notches, right? So Charlie Morton's in what Kyle Gibson role is now, right? Of like, this is we're throwing a fire blanket onto a fire and we're hoping it puts it out. We'll see, kind of thing, rather than Charlie Morton being like kind of a guy that you were relying on very heavily. Again, Morton's been worse than you would expect, but it's also something where it would have been crazy to say, oh, Charlie Morton's going to be a front of the rotation starter this year. That was also kind of going to be unrealistic.
Yep. All right. Well, everything's good. Thanks, Jay.
I mean, the one thing I would say with that also, though, is just like, we kind of been saying this has been coming.
No.
And it is kind of here, right?
Yep.
That the farm system is not what it was.
No.
Because farm systems don't stay like that. Especially when you're picking at the back of the draft and you graduate guys, you trade guys.
I hate to keep it sounds like I'm a broken record when I keep saying it. Like, you knew this was the moment. The moment was, you have the talent here. Now it's the time to strike. Now it's the time to recognize that and make your move. And I think that's what's making all of us wonder a little bit more about Mike Elias. And I have no ill will towards Mike Elias, but like the understanding was that we all saw this. We all saw, hey, once the major league talent gets there and the Angelos problem is no longer front and center of you're not legally allowed to spend any money, there's got to be a moment here, and there has been no moment. And there's no help coming internally. This feels like a mess.
Well, the help
JJ.
coming internally is coming off the IL.
Yeah,
right?
that, right,
like, that's
sure.
what it has to be.
But even if we're being fair about that, none of those guys are Corbin Burns. Like, I love Grayson Rodriguez, but we have questions about Grayson Rodriguez beyond just the fact that, he's constantly been hurt. Kyle Bradish, who at his best looks like a top of the rotation guy, but has constantly been hurt. Like, it's really hard for me to squint and see a path where this looks like a team that can compete for, and to the point, the math right now is you've got to be otherworldly in order to be competing for something of relevance. It's bleak. It's bleak, man. It's very bleak. JJ, I know hot new top 100 prospects list, baseballamerica.com.
New top 100. We'll be working on a new top 30s to start June. We have draft. You know, if you're getting ready for the draft, we just updated our draft rankings. A new mock draft came out this week. We'll also have international reviews coming out in the next couple of weeks. So if you want to know what's going to be, you know, in the DSL for the Orioles, that's coming up. We got a lot of stuff over at baseballamerica.com.
Love it, man. JJ Coop 36. Appreciate you taking the time, man. I know we ran long with you. Thank you so much as always.
No problem.
JJ Cooper, Baseball America, editor-in-chief. Appreciate him taking the time for us this morning. All right, when we come back in, let's talk to a new Raven. Let's talk to Joe Noteboom, new Ravens offensive lineman. When we come back in, it is a Thursday edition of GCR. Feeling sluggish, unfocused, or not like yourself? It could be low testosterone. At Game Day Men's Health, we specialize in testosterone replacement therapy to help men boost energy, improve mood, and regain confidence. Our treatments, including testosterone cypionate, are safe, natural, and tailored to fit your lifestyle with weekly injections or pellet therapy. Get started today with a free testosterone test and feel the difference. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Game Day Men's Health, where men reclaim their game.
What makes the Costas Inn so special? This is Stan the Fan telling you that it's the people that work for you, cooking and serving. But that menu is also special with a capital S. Soups, salads, the raw bar, pasta dishes, seafood specialties, and entrees like the Costas combos, steaks, chops, ribs, amazingly delicious meatloaf, and all manner of delicious spilling sandwiches, including pit beef and turkey and subs. Of course, the steamed crabs are as good as you can get anywhere, and they serve them 12 months a year. The crab cakes are out of this world. Costas is open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner at 4100 North Point Boulevard, and coming soon, very soon, Costas in Timonium at the OTB Parlor at Timonium Racecourse. We'll get you the opening date real soon.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now, and on the cover, Luke Jackson looks at the long road back from Tommy John surgery for Orioles closer Felix Bautista, as well as Kyle Bradish and Tyler Wells. Also inside, we learn more about new Maryland basketball coach Buzz Williams from the players' locations throughout the region, including 60 Royal Farm stores. Or you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Need a trophy or award that's as unique as the achievement? Look no further than Crown Trophy. With locations in Owings Mills and Gaithersburg, they specialize in custom trophies, plaques, and medals for any occasion. From sports and academic awards to employee recognition and corporate gifts, visit crowntrophy.com today and let them help you create a lasting memory for your school, team, or business. Crown Trophy is a proud supporter of the Maryland Public Secondary Schools Athletic Association. crowntrophy.com.
One of the things that's definitely wrong with this country is that this dude still has a job somehow, some way. Glenn Clark.
All right, back in here on GCR to continue along on a Thursday edition of the program. We had to do this a little bit earlier on because of his schedule, but an opportunity to get to know a new Baltimore Raven, Joe Noteboom, right here on GCR. Well, it's a pleasure to meet one of the newest Baltimore Ravens here on GCR as we meet Joe Noteboom, a Super Bowl champion during his time with the L.A. Rams. He signed this offseason to provide some O-line depth here in Baltimore, and he is with us this morning here on GCR. Joe, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's great to chat with you, man. Thank you for taking the time with us, and congratulations on being a Baltimore Raven.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, Joe. It's funny, Joe, we were talking to Cooper Rush about this a couple weeks ago. A lot of times the Ravens will sign a free agent. We'll say, oh, that makes sense. So-and-so's connected to, this assistant coach was with them in this spot. That makes all the sense in the world. And then sometimes, like with Cooper's case and yours, I'm like, I don't know the connection at all. And so I have to ask, was there a connection here? Was this just sort of an opportunity that was in front of you that you said, yeah, that sounds good? How did it all come about?
Yeah, you're kind of right. No, really, I didn't have any coaching connections or anything like that. Just kind of in the offseason, they kind of just showed, the most interest and wanted it to work out for me to come here. So, the only connection that they said they liked me coming out of the draft, but that's about it.
You know what? It's funny you say that because we know historically the Ravens do try to use their own internal scouting from the draft when players become free agents. So it is kind of wild to hear you say that like this is another example of that being the case. Joe, everything that you've accomplished, right, in your career, and I know the last couple of years have been tough and you've dealt with some injuries. Was it difficult for you in free agency to say, yeah, I'm going to sign up for a job where they're telling me I'm not here to be specifically a starter? Like, was that something that you had to go through? You said, hey, are we sure there aren't other opportunities available? Or were you okay with that and saying, no, this is a pretty good spot, even if I'm not penciled in to start at one position?
Yeah, it was more of that. Obviously, you want to go somewhere to start, but I'm aware enough to where I'm at in my career just with all those injuries and all that stuff. But no, when Baltimore was talking to them, I couldn't think of a better run organization than them, even the players and what kind of team they are. And so, whatever role I have here, I just feel like it'll be, a great thing for me to do to come to such a great organization like this.
We've talked a lot the last couple of years. Obviously, Pat McCary was in Baltimore, and he was playing multiple positions on the offensive line, sometimes like even in the same game playing multiple positions. And I always thought that like that skill, we didn't give enough credit to how difficult that was, and we just assumed like, no, yeah, you're a lineman, you can plug and play. Is it more difficult, like going into a role where, hey, we might need you to be the backup left tackle and the right tackle, and by the way, we also might need you to play guard? Like, is it more difficult for you knowing, hey, my role could be anywhere along this offensive line?
Yeah, it's definitely a difficult thing to do as an O-lineman, just with like switching sides and positions. Tackling guard is completely different. Even switching, left tackle or right tackle, just the way your body moves and your muscle memory and everything like that is, it's extremely hard to like switch your mind and your body to do that. But it's something I embrace, and I feel like other guys embrace being able to do that, just to increase your value and help the team out where you can, just to play. It's the main thing. So.
Yeah, the versatility it gives you, 100%, right? And like it's massive. We're chatting with Joe Noteboom, new Baltimore Raven. He's with us here on GCR. Joe, we referenced the injuries, right? Like, someone who had so much success and wins a Super Bowl. I remember you winning the Ed Block Courage Award a couple years ago, right? Which obviously is very important to us here in Baltimore. But how difficult has it been? What has pushed you to say, I want to keep this thing going? I'm not going to allow injuries to define me.
Number one, it's just, I still love playing the game itself. So, other than that, just in every injury I've had, I've been able to come back, 100% from, and then, just other things would happen. But just, I don't have any like lingering body stuff or stuff that still bothers me. So I feel like I can go out there and, still play without, physically hurting all the time. So just love for the game still. And then, right now I just feel body still feels great. So
I appreciate that. Right. There's, it's better than working for a living, right? It's better than that. Joe, what did that experience like, being named an Ed Block Courage Award winner a couple years ago, like getting that recognition from your, and I have to apologize, I don't remember. Were you able to come into Baltimore for the event?
Yeah, I did. I was here.
What was that experience like for you, and having your teammates notice that work that you were doing?
Yeah, the main thing that, was very humbling was it was a team voted award. So it just felt good to, teammates thought of me in that way, and just to receive the award like that. But, coming out here to the actual event was really cool too. The charity, we did the children's house.
It's special.
So that was, better than receiving the award, just going over there and then, seeing all that and being with the kids. So overall, it was just a great thing.
There's nothing cooler than getting to watch those kids like eyes light up, spending time around you guys, man. Yeah. Like, it's just a really special thing. And it's so funny you say that, because like every player that's ever come in has been like, yeah, that made my year. Like, that day is just so special. Joe, the experiences that you've had, right? Like, a lot of people would say, well, you've won a Super Bowl, right? Like, we always talk about how that drives guys. Like, I got to win one of those. Did you find yourself saying, like, hey, that experience actually drives me even more to do it again, right? Like, that I want to be able to taste that because you know what it tastes like and how fulfilling it is.
Yeah, for sure. The feeling of actually winning it, just, the accomplishment, with your teammates and your teammates' happiness, your coaches, everything you've all worked for, just that feeling just makes you want it again. And, being on this team now, just wanting that here. And, it's not a thing like, oh, I already have one out, don't need another one. But it's more, wanting to see, everyone around you, that joy, just that brings with winning a Super Bowl, and the city and the fans.
No,
too.
it's there's nothing like it, man. It is unreal, right?
Yeah.
Joe, the idea of knowing that you're going to be lining up in front of Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, right? Like, to take nothing away, because obviously you've been around great players, right? Like, Matt Stafford is going to be in the Hall of Fame, but like, what does, as a lineman, what does that do for you? How does that get your juices flowing, knowing those are the two dudes that are going to be standing behind you moving forward?
Oh yeah, just it's extremely humbling and everything, but it just makes you want to dial in even more for those guys. What type of players they are. If you just give them Lamar a little more time, or Derrick, or drive off the line of scrimmage, bigger holes, just what they can do with that is just what drives us to play our best, because all pro players, what they can do for the team and how important that is. So.
No question about it. Joe, it's interesting is you referenced saying, like, hey, just knowing the Ravens organization. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Like, as someone who's never, obviously been on this team, like, what the reputation is around the league and why that like, the idea of it being the Ravens was so exciting for you.
Yeah, just around the league, you just have a sense that they're just all about football, hardworking. It's the AFC North, so just physical division. It's just all about football in these towns, and you just know that's what it's going to be, and it's exciting when you just go somewhere where they're just going to grind and just try to win and just try to win games, and the rivalries within the division. It's part of what makes football fun.
Yeah, Ravens-Steelers is kind of special, right? Ravens-Bengals has become sort of like that in recent years. Do you feel like who you are, like you're, like that, the idea of that physicality that we associate with the AFC North, like that's kind of a match for who you are as a person and a football player?
Yeah, for sure. Just being a lineman in general, you love the physicality of it. It's just what football is, and what kind of that old school football mentality. It makes it more fun. Just go out there and knowing pregame it's just going to be a battle.
Yeah.
Kind of gets your juices flowing a little bit,
right? Like, it's an all-out war, man. It's something about that. Joe, I want to get to know you. This is what I like about you. You're kind of like an anti-social media guy, right? Like, you're basically, like, I don't think you've sent a tweet in like 8 years, right?
Yeah.
First of all, good for you, right? Like, I am jealous, man. I'd like to get to that place in my life. Unfortunately, it's harder to get to know you a little bit. I know you're a Texas guy. Can I assume that, like, when family comes over, you're on the grill? Like, it feels like that's sort of like a law in Texas, right?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely need to do more grilling for sure. But yeah, barbecue and all that for sure.
Favorite thing to put on the grill?
Probably steak.
I mean, like,
steak.
You can't go wrong. Are you like the type that's like doing like cowboy butter or something like that on top of the steak? Are you crazy like that, or like, no, dude, I just need a piece of meat. Like, that's all I need.
Usually just steak itself.
I can't argue with that. I can't argue. It works well. What else? Like, when you're away from football, like, what else are you into? What can we get to know about Joe Noteboom?
Big golfer. Been golfing a lot recently. I know a lot of guys here do that too.
Well, I was gonna say, what are you shooting? Like, have you broke 90? Have you broke 80? Have you like, where are you at?
I'm not like great or anything. Breaking 90s. Yeah, I broke 90. That's about.
I mean, dude. Like
kind of where I land.
that's to me, that's an amazing accomplishment. Like I don't think
Yeah, it is.
I haven't broken 100, so like that's I think there's still something incredible to say that you've been able to break 90.
Yeah, breaking 90 is a really good day.
Dude, I think that would be. I would quit at that point. Just say like I've done it. Are you the type like? Do you watch golf or do you just play golf?
I watch the major events.
Okay, so like
watch
you
the Masters.
PGA Championship this weekend. Will you spend time with it?
Yeah, probably.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, I can dig that. Do you have a favorite golfer, or is it just I'm watching because it's background noise?
Favorite right now, probably just Bryson DeChambeau. Probably.
Okay, do you like that attitude? Do you like the guy that kind of like talks it up a little bit and hooting and hollering?
Yeah,
I can dig that.
Yeah, it makes it a little more interesting.
Yeah, right. Like it fell apart at the Masters.
The way he plays.
It did.
Yeah,
it didn't go so well. He's like, yeah. Roy didn't say a word the entire time. I'm like, right, and he won.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I hear you, but he won. Like, that's just sort of the way that it goes. Joe, I'd ask if there's anything. I did see, like, when you were here for the Black Courage Awards, that you work with like a charity that involves like some underprivileged and maybe like kids that are a risk of higher incarceration rates. Did I see something like that?
Yeah, it's the My Cause, My Please Foundation. It's mainly for like foster kids.
Okay.
They work with, foster homes.
How'd you get involved with them, and why was that something that mattered to you?
It's kind of like what they do. Well, first, I was adopted myself, so just kind of the whole foster home thing, and kind of just spoke to me and wanting to help out there. So I was lucky enough to be adopted and have a great life. So
that's wonderful.
Trying to pass that on.
No, that's wonderful. I think that's an incredible thing, dude. I love that. Joe Noteboom. I guess. So did you have a connection with Kyle Van Noy at all?
No.
Okay, all right. I know. There's a couple of guys that have been through there a little bit, but that'll be obviously one that you'll be looking forward to making. Joe, really looking forward to seeing you here in Baltimore, man, and getting to know you better. Congratulations on being a Raven. Thank you so much for spending some time with us this morning, man. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited for all of it, so appreciate it.
Joe Noteboom with us here on GCR, new Ravens offensive lineman, and appreciate him doing that. We could tell. I actually talked to Joe a little bit. He's not like the most talkative guy in the world, but he really wanted to introduce himself to folks in Baltimore and is really excited about being here, and so I appreciate him doing that and taking the time for us. Looks like he's going to be there. I don't want to say Patrick McCary because I do think that minimizes how valuable Patrick McCary had been for the Ravens for a long time, but someone that they're going to look to use in multiple ways along the offensive line as the season goes on. So appreciate Joe Noteboom, new Baltimore Raven, taking a couple of minutes for us this morning. Hour number 1 of today's show is in the books. MIAA Lacrosse Championship set for tomorrow night at Towson. Actually, both the A and B conference title games will be at Towson, the A conference. Calvert Hall Spalding, big showdown. You want to know more about it? How did they get here? Who are the players that you should be paying attention to? And there's a couple of big-time ones in this game. Then what you need to do is go to countysports.zone. It's countysports.zone, proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer. And buyatoyota.com. You'll find out everything there is to know about not just that, but baseball and softball in the playoffs, and get ready for the championship season there. Again, countysports.zone, proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. Let's switch things up. Let's talk a little hoops this morning, as we have been meeting over the course of the last couple of weeks. The new members, and it's entirely new, obviously, of the Maryland basketball team. And the most recent one to get into the fold, someone whose path to Maryland is very interesting, right? Like coming from Germany to Northeastern to now he's going to be a rim protector for Buzz Williams and the Terps. It's a pleasure to welcome in this morning Collin Metcalf to GCR. Collin, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's great to meet you, man. Thank you for taking the time for us, and congratulations on being a Terp.
No, I really appreciate you guys having me on here. Super excited for my journey. It's been a long one. A lot of years, a lot of work towards basketball and getting to this point. So it's been very exciting.
Collin, can you, for people that don't know your story, right? Can you take us, like when you say journey, that is the word that comes to mind for me, right? Like,
yeah.
You've been everywhere at a very young age. Can you kind of give us the thumbnail of your background, from Germany to how you ended up there to now to getting to Northeastern, ultimately now to Maryland?
So I was an Army brat, so never really had like one place that I lived for a long time. Was born in New York, stayed there for 2 years. Don't remember the lick of it. Moved to Texas where my little brother was born. We were there for about 3 years. We were in El Paso. Then moved to Germany. We were there for like 5 years. Then moved to South Korea, and I spent the rest of my time there until like all the way through high school. And then I came back to the States for 1 year, did a prep year at Mercersburg Academy. It's a little north of like Maryland, so I'm very familiar with the area, very familiar with Frederick. And then from Mercersburg in Pennsylvania, I went right to Northeastern, and I was there for 3 years and finally decided to hit the transfer portal. I had played a lot of time there, and I think I was ready to make a next step in my life. So,
Collin, it's funny because I think a lot of people with youth sports would say it's a benefit to have the same coach or to be in the same place around the same guys for some time. On the flip side for you, having sort of jumped around at an earlier age, what were the benefits of that for you? Maybe just, being comfortable around new people. Like you're going to be thrown into a group of most of these guys. There's a couple guys that played together at A&M, obviously, but most of these guys are going to be entirely new. Do you feel like hey, I've done that before. I'm going to be totally good with it.
Yeah, totally. I think one thing that Army brats they get a good experience with is just having to make new friends in a quick time frame. So for a lot of years, it was like I had a friend and he was there for maybe 2 years and he was gone. And then it was like now I had to make new friends and have to meet new people and have new experiences. So it kind of like gets you out of your social bubble. So for me, it's not so much coming to this experience, oh, am I going to blend well with these guys? I've done a very good job my whole life of just trying to make friends in new areas, meeting new people. My favorite thing to do is if I have the time or if I see maybe like someone's off to the side, maybe not involved with everything, I like to just chat with people and just get to know who you are as a person, kind of like meet new people, make sure I have good connections. And that way I'm not lost. If I ever need some help, I know I can call on somebody and I know who they are and they know who I am. So
that's cool, man. Does that come naturally to you, or is that something that, like, again, to your point, is just that's what you had to do in going to all these new places just to get to know guys?
So it's a little bit more natural to me because my like parents, they're from both sides of the world. So my dad, native of Texas, he's from Dallas, Oak Cliff, Dallas, and my mom, she's a German native. She was born and raised in Germany, and then they had me and my 3 brothers. So I come from a big family. Dad's side of the family, he has 5 sisters. I got like 1,000 cousins over there. So I've always come from a big family. So getting to know people was like awkward at first when I was a little bit younger, probably like 7, 8 years old. It was a little awkward. But as I got older, I started seeing that you're in a big family. Like you have to be social. Like you can't kind of hide from anybody. So my brothers, they did a very good job of making sure I was social. They're all their friend groups and stuff like that. It was very easy just growing up and becoming like the social butterfly that I am.
I feel like that's going to be huge with a new group of guys. It's all coming together. I'm sure they're going to be leaning on you to sort of be the one that brings everybody together. Collin Metcalf, incoming Terp, with us here on GCR. Collin, the first couple of years at Northeastern, I know the minutes were a little bit more sparing, but becoming a starter this past season, did you know, hey, once I get my opportunity, everybody's going to see what it is that I have to offer? Or did you deal with any doubt going into it? Man, I don't know. I haven't, the first couple of years maybe haven't gone the way that perhaps I envisioned them going at the college level.
I think for me, it was kind of just a reset of high school. So for all of my high school years, I had the star brother. He was player of the year. He was #1 player in the region. When we were overseas, he was just like the best of the best. So I'm kind of coming from a spot where I'm used to riding the bench. I'm used to being a supporting role. I'm not like much the starter, but I understood what was asked of me when I started. So as soon as I started, I understood that, hey, like you may not be the number one scorer in the nation. You may not be the top rebounder in the nation, but go out there and do what you do well. Go out there, play defense, be the vocal guy.
Right.
Be the guy when you're on the bench, be sure you're cheering on your teammates, be the best teammate possible. My dad is always implanted into me, be a hard worker, be ready for the responsibilities that you're given, and just be who you are and excel at that. Don't try to be somebody else.
That's cool, man. The block thing, right? Like
Yeah.
Is that always been part of it? You mentioned defense, but specifically blocking shots and protecting the rim like that. Is that something that's always come naturally to you, or was that maybe like, oh man, I can do this, like that? Yeah.
I think I played volleyball in high school.
Okay.
So I got a lot of my like technique from there. I got a lot of my groundwork from there on just tracking the ball, seeing where it's at, and kind of just swinging at it and making sure it kind of stays in balance. But in high school, I kind of learned how to do that. But getting into college, it was good being on the bench because I got to see how to block in a way that's effective and not just going out there chasing a block. Oh, I can go block this, but it's going to be like the best time to block the ball. So it's been an adjustment trying to do that in college, but I feel like I've been trying to pick up where I started at in high school, and it's been a good experience for me. And especially this last year starting and getting to see all the talent that I saw coming into this year, playing guys like Xavier Lee, playing over at Northwestern, and just seeing some of like the bigger competition and seeing like, okay, how do I adjust myself? So I'm playing with these high level athletes. How do I block them? And how do I affect the rim enough to where either I'm blocking a shot or altering a shot?
Obviously, Tyler Tejada probably on that list as well, who we of course know well here in Baltimore, and we're excited that he didn't transfer. Actually, that's great news. Collin, the why Maryland thing. I feel like the parts of this are obvious, right? Like it's an opportunity to step up a little bit in competition. There does seem to be some room in the front court for you to get minutes. But can you take me through like how it came about that Maryland and playing for Coach Buzz, that was the right decision for you to make after you had entered the transfer portal?
I think it kind of comes down to two things. So in late April, when I was kind of just like going through the mess of sorting through all the schools who had reached out, a lot of like mid-majors, there was like some good opportunities in the Mountain West. But Coach Rockefort, one of the assistant coaches on the staff, had reached out to me, and he kind of had this fire about him that he kind of was just like, we need you on our team. Like, you're a great aspect to a defensive style that we play. And he kind of just talked to me about like how Maryland plays. Well, not Maryland, but how kind of they played over at Texas A&M, and how Coach Buzz sets up his defense and how I could thrive in that defense. And the second part of that is like knowing so many guys from the Maryland DMV area. Maryland's a big school. It was always a dream of a lot of my friends. It was always highly talked about. And so with Coach Buzz and just their basketball, just like greatness, they always go everywhere they win. It was just an easy decision for me. As soon as I heard Maryland was calling, and as soon as I heard Coach Buzz is going to be there, and all the good things that everybody had said about Coach Buzz, I was like, this is the place for me. It's going to be a great fit.
One of the things that's interesting to me time-wise, and because I think there have been some rumors that perhaps you had made this decision like a while ago, and it just wasn't announced until this week. So maybe I'm wrong in my premise. My premise is that you, unlike some other guys, had the opportunity to start to see how the roster was coming together and maybe get a feel for not just your role, but what this group was going to be capable of. And was that part of this, and looking at the roster and saying, wow, like look at all these pieces they brought in, a Darius Adams, a Miles Rice, that like there's a real chance to win in Coach Buzz's first year at Maryland?
I think I was very eager to commit early, and I kind of like had said that to the assistant coach, Coach Rockefort.
Yeah.
And I was kind of just like, I'm ready to sign whenever Coach Buzz is ready to accept me. And it was kind of just, it was a neat experience to see all the players that were coming along. But I think I trusted Coach Buzz. He comes up, and every conversation I've had with like agents, prep school coaches, high school coaches, and just like some of the college coaches as well. And I trust that he's going to bring in every good piece. He's a man that takes his time with the recruiting process. He'll test your character. I think one of the big things that solidified it for me when I went on the visit was he's like, hey, it's not mandatory or anything like that, but tomorrow morning, 6 a.m., we're going to be working out. I saw that, and I was kind of just like, wow, like, went in there. It was all just me and the coaches. Everybody was lifting. Everybody was working hard.
Wow.
It was just seeing that the coaching staff is going to work just as hard as we are was just beautiful to me. And it creates a culture that you want to be in every day.
You know, a lot of Maryland fans, Collin, are worried, right? Like, whenever there's a coaching change in college basketball, like, there's always the thought that, like, you know, it might take a little while. When you see that buy-in, do you have that feeling like it's not going to take a little while? Like, we're hitting the ground running here at Maryland.
Yeah, I think Maryland made the best decision they could have. Coach Buzz, he's an amazing guy, and he's not just bringing around, you know, he's not just going around, oh, like I need staff members. What's my applicants? He's bringing in guys that he's known for like years. Some of these coaches he's known for almost 2 decades. He trusts every guy on his staff, and he's going to trust every guy on his roster. So he knows exactly what he's bringing in. He knows exactly what is going to get it done. He's seen it before. He's been coaching for like 20 plus years. He's going to get it done, and he's going to be doing the best he can. So I think Coach Buzz, he brings in all this experience, all this knowledge. As long as the roster just sticks to his plan and we all just buy into what he's selling, I think Maryland's going to be just in the same spot as they were last year.
I dig it, man. You know, obviously you mentioned your time at Mercersburg and maybe knowing the area a little bit better. Do you already have like 4 or 5 things with the state flag printed on it? Like, do you already have some shirt? Because you got to know that's just the obsession. Like, that's what the next year of your life is going to look like, is just the flag everywhere.
Yeah, I'm excited to go out there and finally get some Maryland gear. You know, have the flag on there. I think I might have to get a flag for my room, so that way if anybody comes over,
yeah, right. They know.
Like that.
They know, right? Like, this is who you are. This is what you're getting into. And then, Collin, just like, what's something we should know about you, right? Like, when you're not playing basketball, when you're not, moving around the world as an Army brat. Like, what's something that, your interests, that go beyond the court?
I think my biggest thing is just giving back to the people who support you. I'm a big believer in public service. My mom, she was in childcare. My dad, he served for 25 years. So I'm just a big time believer in, these families. They're coming out to the games. They're paying to come see us. They're giving up their time, their energy to come like support us. I love giving back to the community, whether that's just going out and talking to kids for like a 30-minute talk or spending 2-3 hours after the game, signing stuff. I think if you talk to a couple fans out of Northeastern, I spend a lot of chunk of time.
That's awesome.
After games, just sitting there. Fans would just be kind of walking through. People would stop me, and I'll stop for anybody. I'll talk to anybody. I just want to see who you are. I just want to see why you're so invested in the community and obviously in supporting us.
That's awesome, dude. Good on you, man, for that being a priority. That's tremendous. I love that. And I got 2 young sons. They're 10 and 7, and so at some point they're going to come hound you after a game next season. I have no doubt that's the case. Yeah, go ahead, Griffin.
Yeah, Collin, I'm a Towson grad. I'll preface it with that. But now that you're out of Northeastern, you just want to admit, you were sick at Towson. Kind of taking your lunch money every time they went up there. Is that what it was? You had to get out of the CAA.
It wasn't so much I had to get out of the CAA, but I think it was kind of just a big transition year for all of us. Townsend, they were always a good team. They play a lot more physical than a lot of the other teams in the CAA, and I think that's the thing that helps them win. At the end of the day, it's all about physicality. It's all about like the dog in you. And I think Townsend brings that every day. I feel like a little underrated guy from Townsend, C-May.
Oh, yeah. Christian May?
Yeah. Tyler Tejada, me and him, we had a little chat during the game. I scouted him a little bit more than C-May, but they're a good team. I feel like they're going to be set up for success next year, but you can't count out Northeastern. They always come in with they got a little dog in them. You never know what to expect from them. So
you can talk trash. You can say to Griffin like, "Hey, how'd all those CAA championships work out for you?" You can bring that up. It's okay.
Yeah, little disappointing season ending for Townsend this year.
Something about the semifinal round.
Yeah, right. Yeah, not so great. Not so great.
A lot of dark horses this year.
Yeah. Collin, I know on Instagram it's _ Collin with 2 L's Metcalf _, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then are you on Twitter? Is it Collin 031-237-62? And how have you not changed that handle if that really is you?
I don't really use Twitter that much, you know.
Right. That answers that. Go follow him on Instagram is the point. That's what we're trying to say. Collin, great to meet you, man. Can't wait to see you in the fall and see how this group comes together. Really excited about it. Thank you for spending some time with us, and we look forward to being back in touch then, all right?
Will do. And I appreciate you guys having me out here today. Hopefully I can make a big name out here for myself at Maryland, and hopefully the team can go as far as they did last year.
We love the sounds of that, man. Thank you, Collin.
All right. Have a good one.
You too. Collin Metcalf, incoming Terp, with us here on GCR. If you missed it this morning, Maryland did name their new athletic director, and very off the radar, like not at all someone who had been connected to the job whatsoever, and frankly not someone I know a ton about, so it's hard for me to really offer a take. Jim Smith is Maryland's new athletic director, has a very interesting background, like really interesting background, a lot of time in professional sports, down in Atlanta with the Braves, had worked at Ohio State as well, so he does have experience at the college level. The word on him is revenue generator, which clearly is something that Maryland needs to focus on because they've got to meet the moment when it comes to, like, obviously they're going to be doing revenue sharing, but there still needs to be NIL that goes beyond that, and I just don't really have much. I can't offer anything here. Like, I get it's news and it's significant, but this was not all of the people that we had heard about that were involved in the process. This was not one that got a lot of traction. So a little bit off the radar hire for Maryland, and hopefully one that's very successful. Can we grab a break and then talk to Michael Gorham? We're going to talk some Preakness. First-time trainer in the Preakness, but someone very familiar with Pimlico and Laurel. Michael Gorham, Pay Billy trainer, will join us next. Glenn Clark Radio.
Driving in Maryland? Did you know an Easy Pass from DriveEasyMD.com can save you time and money? Of course you did, because you are a thrifty driver. An antenna reads your Easy Pass transponder and automatically deducts the toll from your Easy Pass account. There, you just saved money with Easy Pass, all without slowing or receiving a notice in the mail. Well done, thrifty driver, well done. Get your Easy Pass at DriveEasyMD.com.
Baltimore's Classic 5 golf courses make golf fun and affordable. All 5 local courses, Pine Ridge, Mount Pleasant, Forest Park, Carroll Park, and Clifton Park, are challenging and fun for players of all skill levels. Book your tee time today at classic5golf.com.
Discover luxury without limits at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. This April, unlock a world of high fashion delights and exclusive style. Earn entries daily starting April 1st and join our drawing on Friday, April 25th. 19 will win up to $2,000 in cash and free play. And one grand prize winner will take home a curated Versace homeware collection. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Feeling sluggish, unfocused, or not like yourself? It could be low testosterone. At Game Day Men's Health, we specialize in testosterone replacement therapy to help men boost energy, improve mood, and regain confidence. Our treatments, including testosterone cypionate, are safe, natural, and tailored to fit your lifestyle with weekly injections or pellet therapy. Get started today with a free testosterone test and feel the difference. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Game Day Men's Health, where men reclaim their game.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now, and on the cover, Luke Jackson looks at the long road back from Tommy John surgery for Orioles closer Felix Bautista, as well as Kyle Bradish and Tyler Wells. Also inside, we learn more about new Maryland basketball coach Buzz Williams from the players who have played for him at other stops. Plus, evaluators around baseball chime in on Orioles top prospect Samuel Basallo. Press Box is available for free at over 500 locations throughout the region, including 60 Royal Farm stores. Or you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
Hey, Stan the Fan Charles, every Monday, former Oriole Ross Grimsley, Luke Jackson, they're talking baseball with you, and we're all trying to figure everything out, and they're trying to figure everything out, and they're going to keep trying. And at some point, like everybody else, that conversation will shift to, now what do you do? But every Monday, you can count on it. Stan, Ross, and Luke talking baseball. You can watch it live, Facebook.com/PressBoxSports. If you miss it live, you can find it at YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline or PressBoxOnline.com/video. Stan's shows, as always, are brought to you by the Costas Inn. Again, Facebook.com/PressBoxSports to watch them live. YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline or PressBoxOnline.com/video. One note that I did see, apparently the NFL next week is going to gather to vote on players being allowed to participate in the Olympics in 2028. They're going to try to work something out with the NFLPA. I guess the thought is that no more than one player per team would be allowed to participate, which seems, I don't know when they're going to set that. Like, hey, if you're on the, I don't know how that works. Like, is it the team that you're on in 2028? So they're not going to set the team until then, because you would presumably want to have the team together beforehand to try to practice and do all those things. I'm not sure exactly what, but that's one of the things they're going to discuss, is the idea that I think for American teams, there could be no more than one player per NFL team to try to mitigate any injury risk or something along those lines. It's complicated. I've talked to a lot of players who are interested in doing it. They are compelled by it. They're going to discuss ways that, like providing cap relief if a player were to get hurt during the Olympics. The problem is if a player gets hurt during the Olympics, there's no time to go sign a player to replace them. Like, that would happen in a month before the season starts. So I don't know. I don't know. But they're trying to incentivize the teams to encourage participation because the NFL is a partner with USA Football and the Olympics in making this happen. So apparently they're going to have a meeting next week and try to start putting that into fruition. This Saturday here in Baltimore, we're just 2 days away from the 150th Preakness. And our next guest is very familiar with this area. He's not originally from here, but he has spent a lot of time saddling horses at Laurel and at Pimlico over the years. But now, for the first time ever, he's going to be saddling a runner in the Preakness. It's a pleasure for us to welcome Michael Gorham, the trainer of Pay Billy, here to GCR this morning. Michael, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's great to chat with you. Thank you for taking the time, and congratulations on running in the Preakness.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate you calling.
Michael, can you, kind of put into words, like, what this week, what this experience means to you? You've mentioned, like, you've had horses on Preakness Day. You've had horses in big races. You've won big races. But, like, running in the Preakness, how do you describe what this feeling is like?
It's great. It's, to me, it's like like playing in the Super Bowl if you're a football player, or the Stanley Cup if you're a hockey player. It's, these are the races you want to be in.
Michael, why has this area, like, how did you end up spending so much time in the Mid-Atlantic, and particularly here at Pimlico and Laurel over the years? Like, what was your path to being so focused on Maryland racing over the years?
I always liked Maryland racing, and even, I spent some time here even when I was a kid, and, just going to the races in Maryland. And I liked the area, and when I decided to leave New England, where I started at Suffolk Downs, I got here, and I liked it, and we did pretty well, and I've been in and out of here, for 35 years.
Man, that's a heck of a run, right? Like that's a heck of a journey to this point. Can you tell me a little bit about Pay Billy, right? Like when why was this a horse that you were interested in, and did you think this was a horse that had this kind of potential?
Well, like probably a lot of trainers that are buying horses for owners, we went to the sale and they wanted to buy a Triple Crown horse, particularly a Derby horse, which is a tough task. And we didn't make the Derby, but we got to the Preakness, so I guess that's second best.
So you always knew. What was it about Pay Billy that made you feel like this was a horse that had a chance?
His pedigree is good, and we wanted a horse that would run long races, 2-turn races, and he fit the bill. He was good, athletic-looking horse, and we watched him work at the sale, and he did that excellent, and so we took a little chance and bought him for $60,000.
Wow, and here you are. That's incredible. Michael Gorham, the trainer at Pay Billy, is with us on GCR. Obviously, the win you're in, the Federico Tessio, you win that race. Did you know immediately, okay, then we're running? Like, there's no debate about this. Or did you have to think about it at all? Hey, what's the competition? Is it fair for us to put Pay Billy in this race? Did you need to feel like Pay Billy legitimately had a chance to compete in the Preakness to make that decision?
Well, the owners and I discussed it earlier, and actually when he ran in his first stake and he got beat in nose, and they discussed the chance of getting points to run in the Derby. And I had suggested that maybe he's not really ready for that yet, but if we go the Maryland races and the 2 stakes at Laurel, which the Tessio is a win and you're in the Preakness, that maybe we can run in the Preakness. So that's the way we went, and so far it's worked out, and now we just have one more step.
What is it going to take, right? Like, what needs to happen for Pay Billy to have it? Like, and that from the outside perspective, the thought is that this is a long shot and maybe not quite, up to the par of some of the other horses in this field. But knowing what you know about this horse, what does the race need to look like for him to have a chance to compete on Saturday?
Yeah, he's improving every time he runs. So, I think he has a good chance. He's got a little advantage where he's been in Maryland. He didn't have to ship a long way to get here, and to Pimlico, and he's been here all week this week. So he should be ready to go.
Have you been able to soak this up, Michael? Like I know that you have a job to do, right? Like you have a horse running in the Preakness on Saturday, but have you been able to spend time? Like, I know today was the Alibi Breakfast and the other event. Like, have you had a moment to soak up what all of this means to you running in the Preakness?
Yeah. We talk about it every day between my team, the owners, and everything, and everyone's all excited about it. So, the waiting's the hardest part usually for something like this, I guess. And if the wait's almost over, we just got a couple days to go, and but I feel pretty good about it. So I'm really not that nervous about it, and I think the horse will do his thing, and we'll get him over there to do it.
Are you a superstitious type, Michael?
Not really.
Okay.
No, I think I think the best horse wins, and that's usually the way it goes.
Right.
So if he doesn't win, I hope he runs second. So it's I just hope he runs his race.
Do you feel like this opens up opportunities for more to work with maybe owners with more financial opportunity? Do you feel like something like this could lead to something even bigger moving forward?
Oh, it's always a possibility. Yeah, I mean, you get a little recognition running in these races, and we're usually on the smaller stage, and to get on the big stage, people can realize that we can do it as well as some other people.
What about the for you maybe uniquely? Like, obviously Bob and Wayne and guys like that have been talking about it this week because they've been around forever, but you uniquely running in the final Preakness at this facility before it becomes completely new. Does that register with you? Maybe you think a little bit more than it might register for some other people.
Yeah, I think it definitely does. Actually, I was telling the story this morning that I was stabled at at Pimlico in 1990, and for the first time, I chipped into Pimlico in January of 1990, and the stalls that I were in at that time are the exact same stalls I'm in right now with the 3 horses I have for this weekend. So that was telltale, and it's so.
That's cool.
It's a long time, and end up in the same spot.
That's really cool. Cool. That is really cool. I imagine knowing how much you know about Maryland racing, how excited are you about the changes that are coming and what it's going to mean for racing in our state for the coming years?
Yeah, it's all positive. Hopefully it all goes through, and and they can get it done in a timely fashion. That's what we're all hoping for, and ready for a new chapter.
Boy, you really are one of us, aren't you? That is the apprehension in your voice speaks to everything that we have dealt with over the course of the last. To your point, in 1990, the facility needed to be updated, right?
That's true. That's true. But there's been a lot of talk through the years. But hopefully, it's gonna happen.
God, you truly are. You are one of us, for better or worse. Michael Gorham, we're so excited about this and what it means for local racing, and we are rooting like hell for your horse on Saturday. Congratulations, seriously. I think it's an amazing accomplishment having a runner in the Preakness, and whatever happens on Saturday, enjoy the experience. Hopefully we're talking to you again next week about having a Preakness winner. Thank you for taking the time for us this morning.
All right, that's great. I appreciate everything. Thank you very much.
Michael Gorham, trainer of Pay Billy. Boy, how about that? That answer spoke volumes, right? Of someone who's like, yeah, we're excited about it, but need to see it. It would be really neat if we could actually see all of this come to fruition. I understand exactly what he's feeling. We have all felt that way about this process. Speaking of the Preakness, if you're not headed to the race, the best place to be is Inside Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel this Saturday. Breaking news, celebrity appearance, Griffin Bass is going to be watching the Preakness inside Live Casino and Hotel. I don't know how we were able to pull this off. I heard there were some demands in the rider. I don't know if we can have only blue M&Ms. I feel like that one we might not be able to meet, but
green and blue.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you, sir. You're welcome. Griffin will be joining us inside Live Casino and Hotel. We're going to be hanging out pre-race party starting at 5:30. Look, all day the place to be is Inside Sports and Social, right? They'll have the PGA Championship and baseball, and I don't even know. Will there be a playoff game on Saturday night? I guess that depends on what happens.
No, because I think it only would have been T-Wolves.
Okay.
Or not.
Right,
Yeah,
because Game 7 between the Thunder and Nuggets would be Sunday if there's a Game 7. Would there be a hockey playoff game on Saturday night if there's a...
Could be, right?
Yeah, if there's a Game 7, what would Capitals maybe be Saturday night?
Yeah, it would be, actually.
Okay.
Is that right?
Game 6 would be...
but also I saw... Actually, hold on. Let me see. I'm pulling up the schedule now.
Okay.
Friday is Game 6, Celtics and Knicks. No,
right.
Yeah, okay, nothing Saturday.
Yeah, I think if there's a Thunder Nuggets Game 7, they're going to do it on Sunday.
Yes.
Okay.
Hold on, I'm pulling up hockey. I'm pulling up hockey.
I think...
Bridge...
I think there would be Game 6. If the Capitals win tonight, I do think Game 6 would be Saturday night.
Yes, Game 6 would be Saturday, and if your Winnipeg Jets somehow pull off a stunning upset.
Jets.
Right, exactly.
Might have to stick around to watch
Who's
the game.
your goalkeeper again?
He's great, man. God,
well, he hasn't had a great postseason.
Well, yeah, but he's good in general.
He is good in general, yeah.
Sometimes guys have tough postseasons. And, of course,
Team USA's goalkeeper, yeah.
Sure he is.
Hellebuck, yeah.
Who?
Hellebuck.
Who?
Hellebuck.
Still not registering.
Yeah, Hellebuck.
Hellebuck, yeah.
Your guy.
Hell, if I didn't have a... All right, never mind. Yeah, so all day long, Inside Sports and Social, and they got the 100-foot media screen, but then at 5:30 specifically, we're kicking off our Preakness watch party, and we're going to be doing a lot of the same stuff we did for the Derby. We're going to have best dressed and grand prizes to give away. Last time it was a $250 gift card to Sports and Social, so it covered like your whole tab. We'll be giving away free drinks to people who pick the winner ahead of the race. Just going to be an awesome atmosphere inside Sports and Social. Come join us Saturday, starting at 5:30 for the Preakness. It's a Thursday. That means it's time for us to do this.
It's Fighting Words with Griffin Bass.
All right. Let's see. What happened in the fight? Well, we had UFC 315. That was over the weekend. They were up in Montreal, and pretty big. I guess it wasn't. Based on the odds, it wasn't like a crazy upset. I think Jack Della Maddalena closed at like minus or plus 170.
Okay.
But Jack Della Maddalena did defeat Belal Muhammad via unanimous decision. That was, I believe, that was the final thing I said. I said the only thing that would really shock me, I guess, what would really shock me is if like Jack Della Maddalena got like a submission or something. But he ended up dominating Belal Muhammad and kind of, I don't want to say cruise to a decision because it was a title fight and Belal was hanging in there the entire way. But I think he won 4 rounds to 1. Depending who you ask, I had it 4-1 for Jack Della Maddalena.
Now, do you put your unofficial scorecards up as the fight's going on somewhere?
I can start doing that. Yeah, I mean,
you should probably look into
official.
No, but I think
there's
people want to know.
I don't know what the site's called, but there is like all the MMA writers and journalists. You typically do score the fight and they can post them online somewhere.
Okay.
And there's some database that tracks them all. But yeah, I mean, Jack Della Maddalena, he was pretty dominant. So I was very surprised, that is what is it, that's how it played out. Australian champion now with Jack Della Maddalena. I guess we got two Australian champions in Volkanovski now and Jack Della Maddalena.
How much appeal is there for Jack Della Maddalena?
I guess there's not. I mean, because he's kind of a quiet guy. He's a conservative guy.
That's probably given some of the alternatives. That might be for the best for the UFC.
I think
keep your opinions to yourself.
Or maybe if they're the UFC, maybe they don't. They actually don't.
Yeah,
want
that's
that.
right. They'd prefer for you to be a firebrand.
Yeah. So that one didn't hit. Valentina did win as well. I did say I liked Valentina to beat Manon Fior. That was a pretty great fight. They went back and forth the whole time. I think it was 2-2 entering, or at least I had a 2-2 entering the fifth, and then Valentina closed it out. So that was a really fun fight as well. You got plus money there. My parlay of the day did hit that I didn't give out on the show. I sent it to my friends.
Kind of doesn't count.
Celtics money line, of course.
Uh-huh.
Marc-Andre Barrio. He won his fight. Benoit Saint-Denis and the guy that he was fighting on short notice that one to finish inside the distance, and then Grasso and Natalia Silva to go the distance.
Right.
So of course
totally said it. You sent it to you sent it to your girlfriend. She doesn't go to this school though. Like you met her at summer camp.
The biggest fallout from this is that it kind of robs us of what would have been the biggest fight of the year, and that was I don't know why we were even allowing Islam to kind of decide this before the fight even started, but Islam Makhachev, who was the 155 champion, the lightweight champion, so that's a weight class below 170. He said that based on the results of this past Saturday, he was going to he would know his next fight. He was either going to, if Belal had won, he would have stayed at 155, and they would have done a super fight with Ilia Topuria. So Ilia Topuria would have moved up, or already has vacated the 145 belt, is moving up to 155, and he would have fought Ilia Topuria for the 155 belt, which would have been probably the best fight you can make in the UFC right now. That's their number 1 and number 2 pound for pound guy. Ilia Topuria is undefeated and had just won the 145 belt before he decided he wanted to move up to 155. And Islam Makhachev is, this guy he's Habib's cousin. He hasn't lost in, I think before the pandemic. So they're the two most dominant guys that have been in the UFC, and he said if Belal won, he was not going to move up to 170 because I guess he didn't want to fight Belal, because Belal just is, it's a grueling fight typically with Belal Muhammad. He's a tough guy to fight. But yeah, exactly. It was weird.
That seems weird.
But if JDM had won, Jack Della Maddalena had won, he said he was going to move up to 170 and try to win the 170 belt and vacate the 155. So JDM won, and so now that'll be our next fight later this summer. We're going to get, I guess they haven't really picked a date yet. Islam Makhachev always has to have a full, although at 170 it should be an easier weight cut for him, obviously, instead of trying to get down to 155. So I don't think we have a date for that one yet. But yeah. So now Ilia Topuria will be fighting for 155, and instead of against Islam Makhachev, we get him against Charles Oliveira. So I mean that's still a good fight. But it is just kind of a bummer, and it kind of leads to the bigger discussion about the UFC, and that they don't really care about what kind of fights they're putting out. They just want to get fights out there, and it's the UFC. I don't think they're not trying to broaden their fan base whatsoever.
Yeah, for what it's worth, that the specific part of it, I think is not really their biggest problem.
Well, yeah, sure.
I understand.
But I mean, yeah, it doesn't. I don't see how this is growing their brand whatsoever. Like, it seems like they're very content with what they are. They're very content with, every once a month, you got the big UFC card, and that's all they want people to see is the UFC, not we got Islam Makhachev fighting whoever it's or unless it's John Jones or Conor McGregor. There's really no broad appeal to anyone outside of.
We've talked about that a lot.
And so yeah, I mean, it's just very disappointing that as a fan of, I want to be a fan of the fighters, and they don't really let you do that anymore.
To be fair, they have some. It's not mainstream appeal. They have niche appeal with like the conservative podcaster.
Sure.
Like that. In that world, like UFC fighters are kind of all celebrities. The problem is it's not mainstream. It's a bigger audience than just mixed martial arts, right? Like, in some weird way, they have grown their audience because it's not just mixed martial arts fans, but what they're struggling with is
sports fans.
Yes, right? Like, it's more, hey, if you're really into conservative politics, you should also be into the UFC, and not, hey, if you're into the NBA, you should also be into the UFC.
Right.
And
like,
that's the bigger problem that they have.
You got the summer coming up, and I get it. People do spend a lot more time outside in the summer, obviously, but there's nothing else going on Saturday nights. They have fights every Saturday, and there is they're not selling that to sports fans that probably want something to watch on Saturday night.
As soon as the playoffs are over, it becomes
baseball, and that's it.
And some summers there's the World Cup or the Olympics. This is one of those summers where you don't have anything.
But
none
also,
of those things.
Are the Olympics or the World Cup actually going on at 10 p.m. on a Saturday night? Like, that's when.
Yeah, sometimes they are, but to the point, like it's not. This summer, there's no distraction.
Yeah,
there's no distraction whatsoever.
They could have made the biggest fight in
the moment,
the sport, probably.
The moment the playoffs
Islam
end,
Ilya, and that would have been sometime in July.
But still, that would be big for you.
I mean, yeah, but this
it's still not going to have a lot of broad appeal. Like they have a bigger problem in that they're so in their lane that it's really hard to cross over and figure out a way to get into other lanes. Like, they have committed to that lane. Like, we are going to be, I've talked about this ad nauseum, we're the place for fans of Donald Trump.
Right.
That's who we are. And so it's really hard. And they might have made a calculated financial decision that, like, hey, we're doing well enough that that's all we care about. We have those people. They're always going to be here. There are lots of people that are in that world, not just on the conservative side of things, on the liberal side of things, that like their appeal is only in that world, and they're doing quite fine financially, right? Like they might very well be in that place where they are like, dude, sorry, we don't care.
Right.
Like, that's all we need to do is feed a product. We've got that group of people. They're tuned in. If we give them a product, they'll watch. We're good. It's totally plausible that's where they are. Is there a limit to that? Yes, 1,000% there's a limit. As I've said before, it's not really even the part with the president that I care about. My issues with the UFC go way back before that.
No, you don't think it's a real...
Like, they did this to themselves, but that carnival barking does that. Like, when you choose carnival barking over sport, we're always going to have issues, and it's, not unique to the UFC. There's other places where boxing has cannibalized themselves over and over and over and over and over and over and over again over the years. It's always easier to want to be like WWE than it is to want to, like in WWE, it's the thing, you get to choose the outcomes. They might not be able to choose the outcomes in UFC, but they can choose a lot of the circumstances other than that, and that's what they want to do.
Yeah, I mean, I had more points to make, but like, at this point it seems, that doesn't really matter. I mean,
you're really broken by this one. You just really wanted this one fight.
I wanted this one fight, and also, I mean, it's gone so downhill this year, the UFC. Just like, even as I am a fan of the UFC,
right.
and
wanna watch
proving to me,
fights.
they're
I get
proving
it.
to me they don't care. They don't give a s about me. Like they.
But I would
like-
tell you that's not new this year.
Sure,
Like,
sure.
You might just
But,
be noticing.
And the one
it this
thing I've
year.
always keep going back to is the walkouts, and I
Yeah.
guess apparently they might not be able to license all the music as well. But that's that's still BS. There was a guy.
they're doing the WWE thing where they want to create their own themes. Apparently.
Well, no, I mean.
No, that's a legitimate thing. Like
I think
they
you're
want
right,
to
yeah,
they have an internal. I think it's the same one that WWE uses, which makes
then why
sense.
not-
They're
why
under
not
the same
show
umbrella.
Walkouts? I enjoy the walkouts because it gives you a chance to meet the fighters. It gives you a chance to learn a little bit more about them. It gives an extra 90 seconds to the broadcasters to say, hey, this guy fought in this organization before here. He's from
I get it.
Philly. He's from wherever. He's from Kazakhstan, wherever they might be from.
Yeah.
And I like learning more about them, and it's a little quick profile you can get. But it's if it is a licensing thing, it is BS. Because 2 weeks ago in Des Moines, there was a guy, Daniel Rodriguez, who made his own song, and he played it as his walkout, and they didn't show it. They didn't show it on the broadcast, and no one knew about this until because he won his fight, and he was like on his post fight, he was like, "You guys vibe with my song, I appreciate that," and it was like, "Oh, this guy." Wrote his own song, I couldn't find any video of it. I couldn't even go back and try to find video
on the
song.
free
Like,
fights on the ESPN cards. Like it's tough because you have to get commercials.
I understand that.
That like you don't on a pay-per-view.
And there's no. I just hate that, and
I get it. I get it. It's part.
I also think they're fumbling the bag with Daniel Cormier. I made this comment to my friend this week as well. Like I think Daniel Cormier is the Charles Barkley of MMA, and they're not capitalizing it on all at all. Like he's a goofy guy. He's very intelligent. He knows the sport very well. He's able. I think
He's
he's
a very
able,
popular
yes,
fighter, right?
He's able to make it. He's very likable. He makes other fighters around him. When he's talking to other people, I think he makes them likable as well. Like they do this pre-fight show before all the pay-per-views that DC always co-hosts, and they have like Bilal Muhammad wasn't one of them. Again, Bilal Muhammad, a guy that I wasn't totally familiar with. I didn't really care for until I saw him on the show with DC, and I was like, oh wow, Bilal's a really nice guy. He's a great fighter, and he's a worthy champion in the UFC. And they're just not taking advantage. I think of Daniel Cormier. Like they're not trying to promote him as much as they should. And I'm just very discouraged about the direction of the UFC, sadly, and I don't really see what's up. Like they did a 6-minute power slap promo on Saturday night in the middle of the pay-per-view.
I bet they did.
So hopefully Naoya Inoue can save boxing to help save the fight game. And,
I'm worried that Griffin is announcing that he's quitting fighting words right now.
I don't want to
That's
yet.
really what's happening in this moment.
I mean, especially the summer is coming up, so I don't know what I'm going to be doing Saturday nights now.
Probably not watching baseball at this rate.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Maybe I'll just hang out outside.
I actually put together. This is a straight shoot.
You got something ready?
No, I don't. I got nothing for fighting words. I put together a list. I now have a draft email that I put up. Okay. Stuff I want to watch. Things like that we've talked about that I was like, I want to remember. Yeah, it's not on the list.
I think you'd like
last night, because the basketball was so bad, I watched Summer of '69 last night.
Oh, okay. How was it?
It was fine. It wasn't quite as, I think it's got like a 96 on Rotten Tomatoes or something like that. It's not that good. It's cute. It's not pee your pants fun. Like you really want them to go there a little bit more with the premise. But I also get it's awkward because they're high schoolers and we're not doing the gross out stuff with high schoolers anymore. Like it's a really fine line that we're walking. Like the stuff that maybe we did even during the super bad era, we're probably not doing any longer with high school characters, even though we know the actors aren't that age. But it was fun. It's a fun film. It's cute. It's very sweet. It's more sweet than it is hilarious. Worth the watch, but in the end, I saw a lot of people saying it's criminal this wasn't in theaters. I'm like,
is it?
I don't know that it's criminal that it wasn't in theaters.
Seems like a very Hulu movie.
Yeah, okay. I think it's a fun. I got nothing. The basketball sucks tonight. Let me watch something else type of movie.
I was getting the vibes of the Jake Johnson movie that came out last year, I think. That was also on Hulu, and it was I forget what it was called. I don't know why. It was he was playing a game where he had to survive for a month or something, where people were trying to kill him. It was funny.
I don't remember this at all. It's something that I would have watched.
Yeah. man, what was the Jake Johnson? There were like two other things I wanted to get to before we wrapped up.
We got, and the Orioles start early today, so I don't want to stay on long.
We're watching them?
I mean, yes.
Self-Reliance, that's what it was called.
I don't remember that. I'll put that on my list.
Natalie Morales was in it. Anna Kendrick was in it.
Natalie Morales was also in Summer of '69.
Ah, okay. Yeah, so I guess she's got a Hulu thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, like that movie, like it wasn't, it's not going to win any awards, but it was fine.
Yeah, and by the way, there was a time in our history where we would go to the movies to see those films. Like I try to explain this to people all the time. Sometimes we would just go to the movies to watch Saving Silverman. Like now, Saving Silverman, slapstick funny.
Shouldn't go see Love Hurts.
This is. Oh yeah, you hated Love Hurts. Yeah. This isn't slapstick funny, but like it's okay to. There was an era where we just go to the movies to watch a movie. Like yeah, we'll go see a movie. We don't really do that anymore.
Well, that sounds cool.
I know, right? We don't really do that.
Yeah, Valentino won. I talked about that. That was just
quick.
a great.
We got to
do
do
a great fight.
Yeah.
Jose Aldo did fight. He lost to Ayman Zahabi.
Is it over for Jose?
He was very distraught. It was a close fight. I think honestly I think it probably should have been scored like a draw the way it played out. With like Jose I think won the first 2 rounds and then Zahabi turned it on in the last round. And so they ended up they're in Canada, so Zahabi is a Canadian guy, so they gave it to Zahabi, and Jose Aldo got a quick interview after the fight, and he was very distraught. He was taking his gloves off, saying he's done. I think he should get one more. Hopefully they can find a winnable fight for him in Brazil or something, give him a proper retirement fight. I think that would be good for Aldo. So that was also Saturday night. They did announce a couple more fights. UFC 319 will be in August in Chicago. Too bad there's not, a UFC fighter from Chicago. That's, Bilal Muhammad's from Chicago, and they're not having him fight.
Maybe they'll let CM Punk fight.
Yeah, right. Yeah, maybe.
Maybe that'll be.
Drake Du Plessis will be defending his middleweight belt at 185 against Khamzat Chimaev in August. Again, I will not believe this one until I see Chimaev making the walk to the octagon. He is a guy that is eternally flaky. Although 185 should be easier for him to make. He fought at 170 for a while, and that was when he had most of his issues. The UFC 317, that will be Topuria Oliveira in June. And then Dustin Poirier is going to be fighting Max Holloway in, I think this one had been announced, but he's going to be fighting in New Orleans against Max Holloway, Dustin Poirier. Cool. Holloway in July. So that one should be fun. Yeah, I think that's it. We got there is a fight night, again, riding all the momentum of the pay-per-view, right it back into the apex for the UFC as Michael Morales will be fighting Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns.
And Natalie's brother, right?
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. Ridiculous line. Michael Morales is minus 800 over Gilbert, a former title challenger, Gilbert Durinho Burns, which blows my mind. I think I'm going to have to, I'm going to be in the sportsbook Saturday night, so I guess I'm going to have to sprinkle on that plus 500 on Gilbert Burns, who his last 3 fights, he lost to Sean Brady, Jack Della Maddalena, and Bilal Muhammad, who are definitively the top 3 guys at 170 right now. Maybe Shavkat's in there somehow, some way. But Super Sadiq Youssef fighting this weekend as well.
Love Sadiq. Good guy. Good guy.
By way of Nigeria. He's a plus 110 underdog. I like him a lot here. I like him at plus money. I love him at plus money fighting against
Isn't he doesn't he the voice on some cartoon?
Yeah, he did what was it called? Some Disney Plus show.
Yeah, and
and he
became
had, like a character.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. What was that show called?
Good guy, I like him.
Yeah, whatever. There was one boxing thing. Holly Holm signed with Jake Paul's MVP.
50?
She's 43.
Oh, okay. All right.
She's 43.
I'm surprised.
And she signed with Jake Paul's thing. She's going to be fighting on Jake Paul's card same night, apparently, that Elisa Portia is fighting.
Great. I will never see
fighting
it.
Charles Oliveira.
Never see it. Not a chance.
On June 28th. So, yeah.
Sure.
She's making her return to boxing, Holly Holm, at 43.
Wonderful. That's the thing that we've all been waiting
Manny Pacquiao's ending his retirement as well.
What is he, 60?
I don't know. How old is Manny Pacquiao? He's going to be fighting July 19th.
Christ.
Manny Pacquiao.
God, that is a bad idea. All right, very good. That's
46.
Yeah. That's fighting words. Thank you. When we come back in, we'll get a tidbit and two-bit or wind things down for a Thursday edition of GCR. We will.
Right?
We will.
Discover luxury without limits at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. This April, unlock a world of high-fashion delights and exclusive style. Earn entries daily starting April 1st and join our drawing on Friday, April 25th. 19 will win up to $2,000 in cash and free play. And one grand prize winner will take home a curated Versace homeware collection. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Driving in Maryland? Did you know an Easy Pass from driveeasymd.com can save you time and money? Of course you did, because you are a thrifty driver. An antenna reads your Easy Pass transponder and automatically deducts the toll from your Easy Pass account. Learn more at driveeasymd.com.
What makes the Costas Inn so special? This is Stan the Fan telling you that it's the people that work for you, cooking and serving. But that menu is also special with a capital S. Soups, salads, the raw bar, pasta dishes, seafood specialties, and entrees like the Costas combos, steaks, chops, ribs, amazingly delicious meatloaf, and all manner of delicious filling sandwiches, including pit beef and turkey and subs. Of course, the steamed crabs are as good as you can get anywhere, and they serve them 12 months a year. The crab cakes are out of this world. Costas is open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner at 4100 North Point Boulevard, and coming soon, very soon, Costas in Timonium at the OTB Parlor at Timonium Racecourse. We'll get you the opening date real soon.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Want to improve your golf game or learn to play for the first time? The Baltimore Golf Academy has fun, instructional programs for the beginner golfer to everyday players. The Baltimore Golf Academy can take your game to the next level. Enroll today at baltimoregolfacademy.com.
Whether your focus is luxury and comfort, convenience and technologically advanced connectivity, or sporty performance and aggressive styling, we've got the perfect Highlander for you. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Highlanders from your local Toyota dealer today.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
All right, real quick, because we weren't, I forgot with everything that was going on. We haven't even had a chance to discuss. Derrick Henry did sign his contract extension, 2 years, $30 million. I am to understand it's 2 more years, not just rip up the contract and make it 2 years starting now. That's the way that I am reading it, although I would like a little bit more of the details for that. Seems... I don't know how that's a negative. They got it done at 15. What was Saquon Barkley? What was his 20?
20?
That's what I thought, yeah. So 15 felt like about the number that Derrick Henry's camp would look for. I think a lot of people said, well, I don't know if the Ravens can go that far. Well, based on what Derrick Henry gave you, that's what?
20 and a half for
20 and a half. That's all about right. I think this is a fair number. It does reflect the fact that he's a little bit older, but at the same time, nothing that you saw from Derrick Henry suggests that he's coming towards the end. So having Derrick Henry is good. End of thought. I mean, the only other thought I would have is, yes, there is the fear that age catches up with him at some point, but until I see that, I'm not going to react to it. Derrick Henry appears to be a bit of an alien when it comes to age and the running back position in the NFL. Doesn't guarantee that means he's going to run forever, but he's running like hell right now. So, yes, by all means, sign up for more Derrick Henry. I am good with that. It's time for a Tidbit. Tidbit is brought to you by Game Day Men's Health. I told you about this for the first time yesterday. Really fired up. I'm headed out there later today, and I'm going to find out a little bit more about what we're going to be doing to improve the sluggishness that I have felt as I move into my 40s. And it's not low T, it's not. So I'm going to be going into peptide treatment. And I'm looking forward to telling you guys a little bit more about this because this is a difficult topic for men, certainly men of a certain age. Game Day Men's Health is there for you whether the issue is just feeling run down or whether it's weight loss and realizing that that's more difficult once you reach a certain age than it was maybe hey, in your 20s, I did a little drinking over the summer. All right, well, I'm going to go back to work. It's not quite that easy when you get into your 40s. And the topic that nobody ever wants to talk about is bedroom performance, whether it's, erectile dysfunction or, just maybe other issues that you're dealing with. Those are difficult things to talk about with your friends, acknowledge. That's why Game Day Men's Health is there for you. It is, every time I've gone, I felt like, yeah, this is a place for me. So it's little things like just in the there's a snack selection set out for you in the waiting room. Every time I go, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna take a protein bar. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. Nice fizzy water. I'm all in. Everything about Game Day Men's Health is friendly to guys. And ladies, it's not to exclude you. Like, if you've noticed that your partner is struggling, it's just maybe not quite the same, then it's a conversation worth having with them. I'm headed out to see Tony and the crew at Game Day Men's Health in Owings Mills. You can go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com in order to find out more. This is where men go to reclaim their game. And it's a tough conversation. It's not one we like to have, is how age is maybe affecting us and making us feel different. But this is the place to revive yourself. Game Day Men's Health. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. What you got?
Let's go with. I want to make sure I have it right. Okay, yeah. So Cedric Mullins hit a grand slam yesterday. That was the.
He did.
That was the good.
Should have been a wonderful moment. Maybe a type
guess
of moment that helps turn a season, but.
He did drive in his 300th career RBI with that grand slam. Cedric Mullins did. This is cool. My Google Chrome just crashed as I had it. I was looking at the 300 career RBI for Cedric Mullins. I wanted to look into the all-time leaders in Orioles history, runs driven in. There are 4 guys with 1,000 RBI in their career, in their Orioles career, and there are 11 guys with over 600 runs driven in as Orioles. So I think there's no reason you shouldn't be able to get those 11.
Cal Ripken.
Cal Ripken is number 1.
Brooks Robinson.
Brooks Robinson, I'm almost positive was on the list. I just
great.
Don't have the list in front of me.
Great.
The old internet is failing
this
me.
is super. So why? I mean, Eddie Murray.
It's crazy how this happened. Like, I was like ready to read the tidbit, and then Chrome just crashed on me.
Great. Boog Powell. Frank to me is the first interesting one, right? Like, because it was such a short amount of time that there's a chance that Frank isn't on the list, but he was so good that. What was the cutoff in order to be on the list?
There are 4 guys with 1,000. There are 11 guys with 600.
I'll still say Frank gets to 600.
Frank did not.
Yeah, I mean, it was such a short amount of time. Like, I can't be stunned by that.
You said Cal. Cal's number 1.
Yeah.
Brooks is number 2 with over 1,300.
Yeah. I said Eddie Murray.
Eddie Murray's number 3.
I said Boog Powell.
Those are the 4 with 1,000, yes.
Okay. How about Kenny Singleton?
Kenny Singleton is 6th.
Okay.
With 766 RBI, so 1 guy with more than Kenny Singleton, but less than 1,000.
Eddie Boog. How about
Frank had 545, by the way, 14th all time.
How about Brady Anderson?
Brady Anderson's on the list, 7th, so 1 behind Kenny Singleton.
How about Adam Jones?
Adam Jones is 5th all time.
Okay.
866.
Like, longevity
RBI.
is really important on this. Like, that Brooks was not a prolific offensive producer, but he was 22 seasons. You know what I mean?
So you got the top 7.
7.
Yes. You got him in order, out of order, but you got the top 7.
Chris Davis.
Chris Davis is right there at the cutoffs, over 650 for Chris Davis, top 11.
About Rafael Palmeiro.
He is on the list, 701. 8th place behind Brady Anderson.
And Nick Markakis.
Nick Markakis is on the list. He has 2 more than Chris Davis in his career.
Again, longevity being the story there.
I think we're just missing 1.
Brian Roberts.
Brian Roberts, not.
Okay.
520 for Brian Roberts.
B.J. Surhoff.
B.J. Surhoff also just missed out.
Son of a
13th all time.
And none of these guys have been around long enough to Manny wasn't around long enough to crack the list. Yuck. Who is around long enough to be on this list? God. It's actually tough. Chris Hoyles.
Not Chris Hoyles. Hoyles is 20th.
Melvin Mora.
Melvin Mora, 9th.
Really?
Most RBI in Orioles history, yeah. From what was here, 01 to 09? Yeah. He is 9th between Palmeiro and Nick Markakis.
All right, very good.
You got the whole top 15. The one you missed was Paul Belair in the top 15.
Okay, that's a pretty,
he was right up,
pretty
there
reasonable guess.
as well.
All right, let's get tubular.
Have you ever thought of taking a cruise to these wonderful destinations with sunny skies and beautiful beaches? Well, wait no longer. We're ready for you to cruise from the Cruise Maryland Terminal.
Have a little phrase that you can go from baggage to margarita in about 15 minutes.
Choose fun with an array of destinations, onboard activities, entertainment, and world-class cuisine.
Contact your travel agent and book your cruise today. Let your adventure begin.
Orioles trying to salvage one from the Twins right now. Tomo Sagano on the mound.
Starting until 12:30, right?
No. Oh, was it 12:30?
Yeah.
Yesterday was 12:05.
Yes.
See, then I was in such a rush, and you didn't feel like the need to mention, like, hey, you don't have to be in that much of a rush?
That's why I said it. Well, I was kind of...
you were saying, like, why are we still watching the game?
Well, I meant both ways, yeah. Like there's.
It is 12:30, you're
so
right.
we can get back into fighting
No,
ways?
we're not doing that.
One omission that,
No.
Christian May did, he transferred out of Towson. He
Right.
He went to UNCW.
Correct. Oh, he stayed in conference.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a...
John Lamoth also went to UNCW.
I did see that, John Lamont. Yeah. It's a little bit... transferred in conference. That's something. Where's he from?
May is from Delaware, I think.
Yeah,
Is he the Delaware kid?
it must have been money. Must have been a payday waiting for him in the process. By the way, people get so sensitive about that.
Or Virginia, sorry. Pittsburgh
Who's the
College.
offensive lineman that committed to Miami this week? He's like the #1 prospect, and everybody was hot and bothered about him. These Miami people are furious that everybody keeps talking about, like, you know, it was about NIL, you know, like he got the most money from Miami. Like, why is that something you'd be ashamed of?
Jackson Cantwell?
Yes, that sounds right. Why
Top
are we defensive about that? There's some dude who's on the Lebitard show who's like gone on this crusade about people saying that he chose Miami because of NIL. Who gives a flying F?
He should choose Miami because of NIL.
Like, what
right?
what are we talking about?
And it's Miami.
If by the way, if I had asked why Maryland to Collin Metcalf and he had said they offered me money, you know what I'd say?
Okay.
Good. Like that. What is? We are so, our brains just aren't functioning right. You know what we say in baseball when someone doesn't offer enough for a baseball player? We're mad at the team. Like, hey, why didn't you offer more? In college sports, for some reason, we're like, oh, that's a bad thing. You shouldn't be offering that. Like, no. What are you talking? They got the player. Who cares? I think we're still used to the era of like, oh, it's only about. Once upon a time, when we were saying that, we were suggesting that a team was cheating. That's the only way you were able to get those players, by cheating, right? That's not cheating anymore. It's just, that's recruiting. So weird. Weird bit.
Well, they said Texas had like a $40 million or was it $20 million budget or something for their that was their.
They should.
For their football.
They
team.
should. That'll help you get more players.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know how we got there.
Christian May transferred out to because obviously UNCW swimming in cash.
Yeah,
although I guess they don't have football, so maybe.
I mean, I don't know that. Maybe Christian May wanted out of Towson. I don't know, but like, why would you leave Towson for UNC Wilmington in conference? Like,
yeah,
the most likely scenario would be somebody offered you.
That's why it makes me think Takeo Siddle must have been, talking to him between games every time. And that's it. Towson always beat Wilmington in Wilmington. It felt like. So that was
all right. Whatever. Let's move on. Anyway, Masson 2 for Twins
now
Orioles.
We got nowhere to go.
I get it. Chris Paddock and Tomo Sagano. It's also on MLB Network nationally, so
beautiful.
The whole country can see our pain. Big Ten Network Plus, Rutgers, Maryland baseball final series of the regular season. I don't even know if Maryland's making the Big Ten tournament. It's been a down year. 6 o'clock tonight on BTN Plus. Capitals try to keep their season alive tonight. Game 5 against the Hurricanes back in D.C. 7 o'clock on TNT and True TV. How you feeling?
They're gonna win.
Okay. Who's they?
Me.
Yeah. Oh.
Our Caps. We are.
Yeah. Your Caps.
All Caps.
I don't know about our.
All Caps.
Stars Jets Game 5. Jets. Jets.
Logan
Jets.
Thompson needs you.
9:30 tonight on TNT and True TV. ESPN has round 1 of the PGA Championship right now.
Yeah, so it'll be a bare weekend because every team could close out tonight, right? Like
it's possible.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Thunder. I don't know when they would start the next series. I don't know what the plan would be for that. Thunder Nuggets Game 6, 8:30 on ESPN as the Thunder try to close that out on the road. ESPNU, NCAA women's quarterfinals all throughout the course of the day, but no local teams. Penn Northwestern right now, Duke, Florida after that, Boston College, Yale, and then North Carolina, Princeton. Masson's got Nationals Braves starting in just a minute. It's also the free game of the day on MLB TV. By the way, apparently MLB TV, everything this weekend is free, starting tomorrow. Everything that's not a national TV broadcast, so not like the ESPN Sunday night game, anything that wouldn't otherwise be broadcast nationally will be free on MLB TV this weekend. If you happen to live elsewhere, you can watch the Orioles and the Nationals, but it's, misery. Anyway, MLB Network, White Sox, Reds, 12:40 locally. Rays, Blue Jays at 3:07. Astros, Rangers at 8:05. Access TV for TNA Impact at 8. Some non-sports highlights.
I was just looking at the Big Ten baseball. Unfortunately, it looks like the top 12 make the Big Ten tournament, and Maryland is outside of that. So not.
Is there a chance for them to get in?
Looks like I think Illinois. It looks like they're in 12th. They have 12 wins. Maryland has 11. So there's a chance.
Okay.
But they are currently on the outside looking in.
Not
need
great.
help. And
Not
Rutgers
great.
Rutgers hasn't been world beaters, but they're better.
Okay.
Welcome to Wrexham, Season 4. That premieres tonight on FX, and then it will be available on Hulu.
I am excited about that.
Season 4 of Welcome to Wrexham, new episode of Hacks.
Yeah, Brian Powell reminded me that they're doing that FIFA Club World Cup this summer, like in the U.S., where it's like a different type of competition. It's not a World Cup. They're bringing clubs from all over, so an MLS team could face a Premier League team, and unlike when they've done some of these are supposed to be competitive. Like, it's supposed to be like a real trophy, not like
Inter Miami to
not those like international events they do in the States in the summer where like they're glorified. They're friendlies, but they say there's a trophy, they'll call it like the Stateside Cup or something like that to try to get some interest and sell some tickets. But when we all know it's just a friendly, maybe that'll be interesting. It's just hard for me until we see it. It's hard for me to tell, and also I don't have a club, so kind of hard for me to get all hot and bothered about anything in particular.
New episode of Poker Face on Prime Video. New season
I guess they have to pause the MLS season for that again. Like that's all they do anymore is pause MLS season. They got to start it in February and run it till December because they have to pause it for all these different reasons.
Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
Hell yeah.
Season 2 of that on Hulu.
Hell yeah.
I know you're upset. It is coming to an end. Paul American season 1 finale on HBO Max as well.
Darn it.
Yeah. We got I don't know why I didn't go to this high school, but there's a new series on Netflix called Bet. It's a teen drama set at a private school where gambling determines social status.
How about that?
Yeah, apparently it's based on like a Japanese anime series. So
okay,
but I don't know. Maybe it's something. Paddington in Peru is streaming on Netflix. As well.
Yes.
So
everybody loves the Paddington movies. Are apparently wonderful.
I hear that
they're
as well.
incredible.
I need to check them out.
I've never spent any time with them.
And then Sarah Snook and Glenn Howerton on Seth Meyers.
Promoting the FIFA Club World Cup.
Really?
Yeah, very fired up about that. I think everybody knows Sarah Snook. After Succession, she was the Real Madrid, just mega fan.
Really?
Oh, isn't she from like Ireland, Sarah Snook?
Probably. She's from
right. Like,
somewhere.
isn't that the deal? Like, she wasn't American, and she was doing like an accent the entire time she was on Succession. Australia. That's where
there
it was.
Okay. There you go. And Bernie Sanders, he'll be on Colbert.
And what is Glenn Howerton promoting?
I don't know. Always
There's not
Sunny, I guess. I couldn't find.
Is there a new season coming out?
I mean, I don't know. Is he promoting Wrexham 4?
Yeah, like he's sitting in for Rob McElhane.
Yeah. I don't know. Stephen Colbert is going to have Bernie Sanders on.
He's promoting Wrexham.
Really?
Yeah. He's very excited about.
I can't wait to see what he is to say about.
We've got a new season. I can't do a Bernie. I should work on my Bernie. I got nothing.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I don't think I have one either.
Sorry.
Unfortunately.
Don't have it. We're very excited about. No, it's not. That's not Bernie.
Yeah, keep trying. You're almost
no,
there.
it's not there. It's something else. I don't know what it is that I'm doing, but it's not Bernie. All right, is that it?
I think so. Yes.
All right, very good. Thanks today to Joe Noteboom, new Ravens offensive lineman. Thanks to J.J. Cooper. Thanks to Michael Gorham. Thanks also to incoming Terp Collin Metcalf. We'll get all of it up in the greatest hits section of the...
Let's go, Max. You're the best wrestler alive. Let's go, Max. You're the best wrestler alive.
tab at GlennClarkRadio.com. Tomorrow on the program, you are telling me that there's...
This is the impression I was
the
getting.
end of the Cold War?
Yeah, basically.
Mike Tirico is joining the program?
That's true.
When Stan is going to be on the program? I don't know how I feel about any of this. Stan the Fan is in studio with us tomorrow. Mike Tirico will join us. We'll talk some Preakness with him.
And then Eno Saris will join us as
Eno
well.
Saris from The
baseball.
Athletic.
He'll tell us how the Orioles are.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody at Pressbox. All of our great sponsors and partners, including Preakness Festival, Game Day Men's Health, Live Casino and Hotel, Cruise Maryland Crown Trophy, Easy Pass, Baltimore's Classic 5 Golf Courses, HelpMyGamblingProblem.org, the Costas Inn, Maryland Sports, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Thanks to Griffin, at Griffin_Bass. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Thursday evening. Go Birds. Yeah, please. That would be swell. Go Maryland baseball. Duke sucks.